Yes, indeed. It's a UFC 310. Watch along. Let's watch along. Hey, where's the thing? There we go. Start. Hey, where's the thing? You know what I'm saying? Where is he? Spider-Man, Spider-Man. What's up, Spider-Fred?
How you doing, man?
I'm all right. You know, last pay-per-view of the year. We're here. AJ's not here.
Where's AJ?
I don't know. Some sort of party, some sort of Christmas party he's at that we're not invited to. I don't know. He might show
Johnny,
up
can
later.
You get Dave something to eat?
Was that him? I don't see him.
AI AJ.
Oh, that was AI AJ. Okay. The real AJ may show up later. We've got a good fight card, though. I'm doing all right. Living the life so far. I watched the prelims. You watch any of the prelims?
No, unfortunately, fortunately, I had a family gathering, but unfortunately, I missed the prelims. But I read, for example, I read that the Mosvar Aljamain Sterling was a good grappling fight. Was that the case?
Yeah, it was very good. Really good back and forth. I thought it was a very close fight that Movsar just edged out. It was
some people had Sterling, I
third.
feel.
Yeah, it was pretty close. It was pretty close. Movsar wound up winning a unanimous decision. Only one of 3 decisions on the first 9 fights here on this card. Everything's been finishes, pretty much. 6 finishes, mostly submissions. It's been a pretty good prelim card, but that Movsar Aljamain fight was probably the best grappling match that we saw. Very impressive stuff. Great fight. Aljo loses a close one, but it was close, man. A lot of good scrambles, but Aljamain couldn't fully get both hooks in and take Movsar's back, but Movsar was able to take Aljo's back like a little bit in the 3rd round, so I kind of gave him the edge. It was close, though. It was like, could have gone either way after that 3rd. I wasn't sure, but yeah, it was a good fight. Probably best fight so far. We've had some decent fights, though. Opened up with Kennedy Nezchukwu knocking out Lukasz Brzeski in the 1st round with a TKO. Chase Hooper, nice armbar on Clay Guida to tap him in the 1st round. Michael Chiesa, rear naked choke on Max Griffin in the 3rd. That was a good fight, too. Joshua Van with a decision win over Cody Durden. Eric Anders finishing Chris Weidman in the 2nd. It was a good 1st round for Weidman, but 2nd round he kind of slowed down and Anders took over. I wonder what the deal is with Weidman. Like, how many more? When you're losing to Eric Anders on the prelims and you're the guy who beat Anderson Silva, you're a former world champion, you're how old at this point? He's what, 40?
I understand what you're saying, but I always come back to saying, I don't know how much he made tonight, but I would bet it's several $100,000s, and if not, maybe $1 million. So I'm not going to tell Chris Weidman to stop making money. But yeah, unfortunately, Chris Weidman is not championship material no more. So that's a sad reality.
Yeah. I remember I think it was the last pay-per-view. It was like the Embedded show. And Chris Weidman had a bunch of people. When was this Weidman fight supposed to take place?
Yeah,
he was supposed, right?
Yeah, it was delayed, huh?
He was supposed to fight Eric Anders at UFC 309. So it was the main event or the co-main event. I think it was the main event. I think it was Stipe. Had this. They showed on Embedded the hotel rooms, right? And Stipe had this like massive, sweet, huge hotel room, really nice. It might have been Oliveira. I don't know. It was like Oliveira possibly, or it might have been Stipe, but I feel like it was maybe Oliveira who had a crazy hotel room. One of the guys, in the main events had like a much nicer hotel room than Weidman. And you just go, oh yeah, that's kind of what happens, how you fall. You just get different accommodations from the UFC. Weidman's still probably getting paid, but it's just like, yeah, if he was the main event, if he was still champion, if he was still kind of top of the card, he'd be getting these nice hotel rooms unembedded. But instead, he's just got like a regular hotel room that you or I would stay in. You know what I mean?
Was it a 2-bed room for him and his 3 coaches?
Yeah, something like that. Like it was like, a regular hotel room, 2 beds, a bathroom, and that was it. Like a basic,
Yeah, but maybe like, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised like the UFC gives a per diem to these guys, and some of these guys say, hey, let me spend some more money. Because I was looking at that same embedded. It was Oliveira, and I was looking at his house, and I'm like, okay, I know Charles Oliveira made some money, but I never thought he made that much money because he had a fucking nice house. Like, he had a fucking nice house. Yeah, but still, man, he looked like he was balling.
Yeah, because he's made very good money in the UFC. He's made probably a few million as UFC champion. And in Brazil, that money, countryside in Brazil, that money's going to go a long way, dude. It's going to go a lot further than it would in the United States. Don't you think? Come on.
Yeah, probably.
That's why they get these guys. That's why they love the international guys, because they don't want as much money as some of the Americans or whatever Europeans, because they don't need as much money. They don't have the same point of reference for pro athletics.
I don't know, man.
Looking at pro athletics.
Charlie from the Bronx had a bunch of gold and all, man. I was impressed with Charlie. Like Chucky, he seems to be living large.
I'm sure he's doing well. I'm just saying, like, I feel like,
I wouldn't be surprised if he's broke in 10 years.
I don't know. I think he'll be all right. I mean, he's still competitive. He's going to get another title fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's next up. Nate the Train is coming out, Fred. Nate the Train. It's Dooho Choi versus Nate the Train.
I think I have him on my parlay, right? What's my parlay again? It's him and Pantoja?
I will tell you in a second.
I think that's what I had.
I think
I had my underdog parlay.
Did AJ put a graphic up? I thought he did. He didn't put it on Instagram?
Slacking.
My God, he's slacking.
If you see AJ at the bar, tell him to stop slacking.
I don't see. Yeah, like he's probably at a bar right now just drinking it up. I'm looking at our Instagram page right now, and I don't see our picks. I thought he made a graphic. Didn't he make a graphic and send it to us? Pretty sure he did send it to us.
I just saw you sending it to him, but yeah, I think you're right, actually.
He's slacking, man.
No, he sent us some screens of Islam. Oh yeah, okay, here's it. So yeah, I got No, he put my underdog parlay. That's not my real parlay. Why did he? Oh, fuck you, AJ.
But he didn't even post this graphic, Fred. I have this graphic here. I can show it.
Yeah, I had Pantoja and Nate, my parlay. Nate Landwehr, however you pronounce his name.
Yeah, you had Nate the Train, Ciryl Gane. No, wait, that was AJ's. You had, what did you have?
Nate and Pantoja.
Yes. Nate and Pantoja. That was your favorites parlay. And then you had a dog parlay, which was Volkov and Kron.
Yeah.
Okay. My parlay died already, which sucks.
Shit happens.
Yeah. Yeah, I had Themba Garimbo, and he got tapped out really quick. He got dropped, and then Luque wrapped an anaconda choke, and tapped him out, choked him unconscious in 52 seconds. It was pretty awesome. I wasn't mad to lose my parlay off that. The finish was unbelievable.
So do you think Luque would have made Nick Diaz look bad? Probably.
Yeah, of course. He would have crushed him, man. Nick Diaz is making Nick Diaz look bad. You know what I'm saying?
That's pretty true.
Come on, man. It's not looking good for Nick Diaz. Brian Battle got a split decision win over Randy Brown. That got me excited about my parlay.
I didn't see that fight, but I was kind of pissed because he missed weight, and I saw Brown after that, like, talking about it, and he was like, he knew the day before he was going to miss weight, and I don't know if that's true, but yeah, whenever somebody misses weight by a lot, because I think he was in, like, at 175, so that's 5 pounds, 4 pounds, man. That's a lot of weight to miss.
Yeah.
I'm a little sad for Randy Brown. I didn't see the fight, but I'm a little sad he took a loss there.
I think he lost, though. I had Battle winning. Battle just kind of clinched him up and threw elbows up against the cage for the second and third round and won that way. It wasn't very exciting, but I thought he did enough to win. But yeah, missing weight sucks. 175-pound catch weight, like that sucks.
Especially if you're
supposed to be 170.
Especially if you're gonna, because if you miss by 4 pounds, you probably know in advance you're gonna miss it. And if you don't tell your opponent and you let your opponent do the full weight cut and all, man, it's kind of cheap. Like if the day before you tell your opponent, look, let's do it at 175, I can't make it. I could live with that a little more than if you just make your opponent lose the weight and you come in 4 pounds heavy. Kind of suck.
I agree. It's not a good look. Hopefully it doesn't happen again, I mean, I feel like it can happen, but it's unprofessional for sure. Here we go. It's Nate the Train and Dooho Choi. I'm picking Nate the Train too. I think he's going to win. This is the opening fight on the pay-per-view. Bryce Mitchell, Kron Gracie after this. Then Ciryl, Gane, Alexander Volkov. Then it's Shavkat, Rakhmonov, and Ian Machado, Garry. And then the main event, Alexandre Pantoja defending the flyweight title against Kai Asakura. Oh, man. Dooho Choi with a nice uppercut and hook combo drops Nate the Train early. But he popped right back up. Like some kind of train. I don't know. Do trains pop back up?
Dooho Choi is pretty jacked.
Yeah.
Usually, like, Asian fighters, usually they're not that jacked, but he has the good genetics.
I mean, yeah, his legs are, like, very big.
Yeah, his shoulders.
I would disagree saying the Asian fighters are not that jacked. Do you remember Sexy Yama? I mean, Kai Asakura in the main event, he's pretty jacked himself.
I mean, he was lean, like Sexy Yama was lean, but it's not as if he had huge muscles on him or I don't know.
Oh, my goodness. Dooho Choi cracking Nate the Train. Big uppercuts. Big leg kicks, too. He's hammering that lead leg. Dooho Choi is winning this fight big time so far. Nate the Train's taking a beating. I think he's cut, too. Yeah, he's bleeding.
And he seems overwhelmed
and he just
right
gets
now.
taken down easily. The train is off the rails, Fred. Oh, Dooho dragging him down to the mat. He's got his back throwing elbows now. Oh.
Doesn't look good.
Nah. This is like an STM train. It's not so good. Dooho Choi. He's on Nate the Train's back right now. Trying to get a hook in. Oh, he's got a hook in. He's got 2 hooks in. He's got his back. Oh, no, he lost his hooks. Oh, he's got 1. Oh, there's the other popping back in. He's got his back. He's sitting. Dooho Choi now sitting up with his back against the fence. He's got the back of Nate the Train, who's kind of sitting on him.
I mean, from the
Nate the Train
nice,
getting back to his feet.
I was gonna say from the start of this round, it felt like Nate the Train was playing catch up, where Dooho Choi just came out strong, and Nate's been overwhelmed. But let's see now, he's back up. But Choi's striking is much better than Nate's.
Nate hasn't been able to land anything.
Yeah, he doesn't throw his hand at all, pretty much. Like,
I mean,
Dooho Choi's much more active. Yeah.
Yeah. Dooho's got a really nice combination.
Yeah, Choi throws like 10 shots for every one Nate throws.
Yeah, Nate's throwing just kind of one shot that's missing, and then Dooho with his very quick boxing landed a nice combo every time. Oof, and that leg kick too. Almost kicked the leg out from under him.
What's AJ's parlay? Did he have Dooho or?
Oh, his parlay was massive. I think he also had Nate the Train. Let's knock AJ out, too. Let's knock out all our parlays early so we don't have to think about parlays. What do I have? AJ's parlay on the graphic, I think. He had Nate the Train. So nobody's parlay looking too good right now.
It's not over,
Although
man.
Nate the Train pushing Dooho into the fence. He's trying. He does kind of keep moving forward like a train, Fred.
Yeah, he's finishing stronger.
Yeah, he's pushing forward on him. He's just kind of pushing him in the fence, but...
I mean, maybe that's the type of fight he needs to do. Because when there's distance, he's losing the striking, so he needs to cut those distance.
Make it ugly, get close to him, clinch him up, dirty box against the fence. You're right, because the boxing range, he's getting just lit up. That was a Dooho Choi round for sure. It was like a 10-9, maybe 10-8. Beat the shit out of him. I see Alex Pereira there in the front row. Did you see Alex Pereira? And, man, everybody's getting into fights. Everybody's getting into fights. Alex Pereira and Jamal Hill got into a fight at the UFC Performance Center. Seems like a lot of fighters are in town for this event, and everybody's beefing. Umar Nurmagomedov and Marab were getting into it at the press conference. Like, the press conference was nuts. They were yelling at each other, going bananas before the press conference, after the press conference. And then Nate Diaz, who's there with Kron Gracie, he was throwing water bottles at Islam Makhachev and his people. Like, and Nate and his gang, and Islam and Khabib and their gang, they've been beefing for years. Since like a Strikeforce fight years ago.
And here we go.
Round 2 now. I mean, what is going on, man? They're all going bananas.
I don't know. I know I like Jamal Hill, but he needs to, like, sometimes he acts up and he ends up looking a little bit bad because he's like challenging or confronting Pereira, who just like gives him a pair of gloves, like, yo, man, here, man, let's brawl, like, you want some, let's go.
Pereira's training at the time, and he's like, come on, let's get gloves. And Jamal Hill doesn't want any of it, right?
Exactly.
And now Jamal Hill, you see what he says about it?
I didn't see. No.
He's like, oh, I wasn't saying I didn't want to fight. I was like, well, what do we need gloves for? We don't need gloves. Let's just fight. Let's just do it. And it was like, well, Pereira's wearing gloves. He's like, I don't want to go through all that, put gloves on and all of that. Too much. It was like too much effort to put gloves on. I was like, come on, Jamal. He punked you out. Yeah. It was on camera. The whole MMA world saw it. And now you're trying to make excuses like, no, I would have fought him, but I just didn't want to wear gloves. He wanted me to wear gloves, and I was like, no. Jamal Hill looked bad in that, man. Did you see they showed him on camera earlier? Oh, you didn't see it. They showed Jamal Hill on camera earlier, and he got boos.
Oh,
big
for real?
boos. MMA fans saw that, and now it's like, because we like Alex Pereira. You know, you talk shit to Pereira, and he's like, yo, come fight me. And you're like, nah, you know, man, people don't like that. Oh, big takedown from Dooho Choi.
Yeah, very nice. Also, it's not the first time that Jamal Hill recently looks a little like I don't want to say dumb, but sour. You took a loss to Pereira, man. Just own it and get back into training and earn another shot, man. Like, don't try to outstage him. You lost in the cage, man. So, like, to me, that's what it is. Yeah, Dooho Choi is dominating here.
Damn, he passed him. He got a big takedown, got side control,
Oh,
passed him out, went for a choke, had the back momentarily. Now he's back inside, back to mount, back on the back. Yeah, he is totally controlling Nate the Train. Oh, he's got back mount with the arm trapped. He could finish it. Oh, he lost. Why did he? Oh, he's flattened him out, though. He did it to flatten him, to get it lower. His hooks to try and flatten him and finish him. But Nate the Train staying on his knees, not giving up, but getting beaten up for sure.
yeah. I'm looking at Choi's record, and I'm not sure what happens. What happened? He missed like 4 years between 2019 and 2023. There's no fights. 2021, 2021 and 22. He has no fight.
You know what I bet that is?
Service, military.
Military service. Like
Could
Korean
be.
Zombie. Those Korean dudes, they
Yeah.
have to do 2-3 years military service or something in their prime fighting career. It sucks. Oh, Nate the Train got back to his feet. Oh, he got taken down again, though. Damn. Nate the Train's got nothing left. He's losing this fight for sure. Dooho on top of Nate the Train. In top half guard. Nate's got a half guard. Dooho trying to... I mean, he's not really trying to pass. I'm not really sure what he's trying to do right now. There you go. He passed. He's got him turtled up. Oh, Nate the Train trying to get it the single leg. Uses it to get back to his feet. Nate the Train keeps fighting, though. You know? It's not like he's not trying or he's not going for it. He's just getting outmatched. He's got good cardio, Nate the Train, because, like, he's still fighting at a pretty good clip. Like, he doesn't seem to be
but
slowing
Dooho Choi
down.
has better cardio.
Yeah.
He's just keep on pushing. I mean, Nate the Train is taking it. I'll give him that. But Dooho Choi is the one that's pushing the pace here. So I'm impressed with Dooho Choi. And yeah, Nate is surviving, but I mean, definitely 2 rounds for Choi, and some of them might be 10-8.
I mean, you're saying Dooho is pushing. He is pushing, but he's on top. Like, Nate is also defending. Like, he's defending at a crazy pace that Dooho is pushing. I don't know. And he doesn't look like that tired. It's pretty impressive. They're both, like, the fact that this fight has been at this pace and they're both kind of still not really slowing down. These guys are in tremendous condition.
Yeah, definitely good conditioning.
But Dooho, for sure, outmatching this guy. It's 2018 Dooho Choi. What were the odds going into this? Who was the favorite? I think Nate the Train was,
Nate,
right?
minus 155, I think.
Yeah.
Like that.
I think we had it minus 140. Dooho plus 120. So not a huge favorite, but still. Nate the Train not coming through. So far.
And here we go.
Let's see.
Comes in
Maybe.
with some big rights, but they're telegraph and they're not really hitting anything.
Yeah. He's throwing big hands, like, you know, it's just hitting the air, man.
Yeah.
Dooho's boxing is so much sharper. He's seeing everything coming.
Yeah, exactly.
His hand speed is so much better.
His jab connects and just stuffs Nate.
Yeah. Oh, going for the takedown, and he gets it. Nate tried to jump on like a choke as he took
That
him
was
down
weird.
there. Dooho now, he's got him taken down. He's on top of him in top side control with 4 minutes to work. This is terrible for Nate the Train. You know? This is so bad. He's screwed. Because he's not shown an ability to get really back up and stay up. Like, he's had moments in the second round there where he got back to his feet, but then he just got taken down immediately. Oh, he's crucifixed him. This could be it.
We could be getting close, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if he just keeps throwing elbows while Nate's in the crucifix and he's not getting out of the crucifix, there's no defense. You got to stop it. Just pin him down and throw little elbows. Remember when Roy Nelson stopped Kimbo that way on The Ultimate Fighter? Everybody was so pissed. That was great.
It was predictable, but
Yeah.
people, for some reason, believe Kimbo with bad knees and all could fight a real fighter.
Yeah. But for some reason, people were mad at Roy Nelson. But it's like, yeah, I mean, Roy Nelson
doing
just
his
kind of
job.
laid on top of him, got a crucifix, and just threw just little elbows, and Kimbo just had no defense, couldn't do anything, and the ref stopped it. It's like, how long can this go on for?
I wonder what Roy Nelson is doing these days, because he isn't fighting anywhere no more. I haven't seen him fight in a
I
while.
don't think so. I think he's still training. I think he's still doing jiu-jitsu. I thought I saw him like doing some sort of jiu-jitsu super fight or something. I think he's still out there. Why wouldn't he be? Dooho Choi still has Nate the Train in a crucifix. And he's just kind of holding him there, throwing little elbows. The referee's taking a really good look because Nate the Train is totally stuck. He might stop it.
Choi's strikes are not very, they're not going to finish him, but his control is so good that Nate can't really get out of there. So, yeah, the ref is going to stop it. Good choice.
There you go. It's over.
It is all over.
I think Nate seems a little pissed, but hey, the ref made the right decision there.
I mean, he was stuck. He wasn't moving.
Yeah,
Stuck
why
in
take
that
more
crucifix,
damage?
Couldn't get out. And his face is a mess now, man. Right? He's beat up. Nate the Train.
I got no problem with this stoppage. That's a good call.
Yeah.
Like Nate might be pissed because he's not getting knocked out or anything, and he's fighting. Like he's trying to defend, trying to get out of the crucifix, but he's just stuck there. He's not getting out. So
Sure. Yeah, well, that's it. Like, what do you want, man? Do you want to stay in the crucifix and keep taking elbows to the face for another minute and then lose a decision? Or do you want this fight to be stopped because you can't escape and you're stuck and you have no intelligent defense? Like, you just kept getting battered with elbows. Why would you argue that decision? The stoppage was correct, and he was on his way to losing that fight. He lost the first round. He lost the second round. He was losing the third round. Did he think he was close to getting out of that crucifix? Nate the Train loses. The train has stopped. It's your stop, Fred. Nate the Train. Well, that kills your parlay. That kills AJ's parlay. My parlay is dead. All the parlays have died. Rest in peace. We all like Kron Gracie for the upset, right? Right? I don't know.
that might be a bad pick, but let's see.
Yeah, I think it would be fun. I feel like Mitchell is going to dive into some jiu-jitsu and get himself into some trouble, but he's supposed to win, so And Kron did not look good in his last fight. But he's extra
Dave,
fired
here's
up.
my parlay. On the prelims, I pick every underdog to win.
That was AI AJ. If he picked every underdog to win, he would have done a little bit better than he has so far. There he is. Old Dooho. Old Dooho with another win. Big win for the Doo. What's next? Is it Kron Gracie?
Yep.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, man. Jamal Hill looked real uncool with that whole Pereira thing. And he's not getting a fight with Pereira, right? It's Ankalaev.
I doubt it. Yeah.
Ankalaev is next for Pereira. I don't think they've announced when that's going to be, but they did a press conference for Merab versus Umar and Islam versus Tsarukyan. That's the same card.
I'm trying to remember. Merab had a good line that was funny in that press conference, but I forgot.
He had a couple.
Yeah.
One guy asked him One guy asked Umar, I think, what his favorite times were with Islam.
Oh yeah.
And Merab goes, the hot tub. And there's this picture of that, or the jacuzzi or something, the jacuzzi. And there's a jacuzzi. Yeah, Merab goes, jacuzzi. And then there's this picture of all those guys, like all the Khabib team guys in like their underwears in like a jacuzzi together, really tight, like way too many guys in a jacuzzi, all kind of hugged up on each other, smiling.
They're close for the picture, man. Come on.
Yeah. But it's just like people have kind of made fun of that picture. And Umar like was really quickly like, no, I wasn't there. But I'm pretty sure he was there. So it was weird that he kind of denied the jacuzzi right away. It was like, what are you denying here, Umar? Umar has come off as a little weird in this whole thing. No? Don't you think? Like, I feel like Merab has come off a little bit better than Umar. And
I mean,
Umar and Islam were kind of, teaming up and ganging up on Merab a little bit at the press conference. I didn't like that.
Merab's been Americanized, man. He's funny. He's into the trash talk and all that. I think Umar and Islam, it's not as natural, and they get mad. It's like they got more of the like, I'll confront you if you disrespect me, whereas Merab is more of a joker.
Like, these guys were yelling at each other in English, but like with their accents, it felt like they should be yelling at each other in a different language. You know what I mean? Like, neither of them have great English.
I hope Merab wins. I'll tell you what. I hope Merab wins. I like Merab. He's a funny dude. He's a good character. He brings something to the division where he makes it a little bit interesting because he's a funny dude, man. He knows how to play to the crowd.
Yeah, but do you think he's gonna win?
I'm going with Merab. Team Merab. Hey, RVD.
Hey, Rob Van Dam is there. What is he doing there? RVD and Bo Nickel is also there. All right. They're showing celebrities. Hey, it's JWoww from the Jersey Shore, Fred.
No clue who that is.
You know, Jersey Shore. You remember that show? King Green. Oh, that's Bobby Green, but he changed his name to King, which is weird. Donald Cerrone with a cowboy hat. There he is. He's got another cowboy friend with him for some reason. Tatiana Suarez. Oh, she's fighting Zhang Wei Li next at UFC 312. Okay. That'll be good. Okay. Yeah, Merab and Umar really went at it. I want to try and play some audio. think I can get you some audio of this because it was pretty hilarious. Let's see. Do I have this?
Listen to me, Mirab. Bill, I don't care about you, Mirab. Listen
Don't talk in personal,
listen,
okay? I don't
listen
did
to me,
anything
Mirab.
bad
Listen
for
to
you.
me.
I was always respectful for you, okay? You
Listen
have
to
to
me,
be
Mirab.
man first, okay?
Listen to me.
Fuck this belt, fuck the money, fuck everything else, okay? You
Listen
have to
to
be
me,
the
Mirab.
man first. Okay, I don't give a shit, okay? I don't give a shit about
Don't
belt.
always calm
The
down.
belt. You
Calm
have to
down.
give me
Don't
as a
nervous.
man. I don't did anything disrespectful to as a man, okay?
Yeah, it's a Marab saying, I don't give a shit about belt. You have to come to me as a man. I'm not disrespectful. They were really yelling at each other at this press conference. I'm trying to get the one clip where they're yelling at each other for like 2 straight minutes. It's kind of nuts.
Where is this fight taking place?
I hope America.
Yeah, I don't want it to be in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah. If it's in Abu Dhabi, it's totally rigged, bro. Inglewood, California, LA. There you go. That's a real fight then. Not fake, no IVs, no bullshit, no fixed weigh-ins, nothing like that. No Abu Dhabi bullshit. Okay, let me play you a clip of Marab and Umar just yelling at each other. Here's Marab starts and then Umar jumps in.
Umar, like same thing, like I said here, Umar lost respect from me. You know? As a man.
Explain everybody. I want to know what for you disrespect. You the champion. Everybody want fight with you. You target. You take belt. If you don't wanna, everybody want you fight. Leave the belt. I don't care about you, Mirab. Listen
Don't talk in personal, okay? I don't
listen
did
to me,
anything
Mirab.
bad
Listen
for
to
you.
me.
I was always respectful for you, okay? You
Listen
have
to
to
me,
be
Mirab.
man first, okay?
Listen to me.
Fuck this belt, fuck the money, fuck everything else, okay? You
Listen
have to
to
be
me,
the
Mirab.
man first, okay? I don't give a shit, okay? I don't give a shit about
Don't
belt.
always calm
The belt.
down.
You
Calm
have
down.
to give me
Don't
as a
nervous.
man. I don't did anything disrespectful to as a man, okay?
Okay. Let me say. What I said bad about your country, about your national, about your personal. What I said? Nothing. I just said you avoiding me.
You forgot whatever you tweet in online, whatever you post on online.
Everything about you avoiding me. Everything about that. You talk about I'm not
And
deserved.
everything was
I
lie.
said you.
Everything was lie.
What?
You
what
are a
was
liar.
lie?
You're
What?
not a man. You lost my respect.
Prove it.
Prove
what
it.
I said lie. Yes, prove it. You have to prove it. When you talk something,
I like that. Umar's like, what do you mean? I didn't disrespect you. Prove to me that I disrespect you. Marab's like, online you said stuff. And Umar's like, no, I didn't. Prove it. Marab's like, you're a bad guy. I don't like you. It's like, wait a
you
second.
have to say true.
You said I was ducking you. I said yes. I was gonna fight you in February or
Rab,
March.
It's not just me. All world. When
What?
Joe,
No, bro.
okay.
What the-
When you after your fight, they asking
You don't-
about
you
Umar.
don't-
They asking
I don't
about
want to make you
Umar.
popular. You know, I don't
Said,
want to. You want
thank you,
popular.
Dana
because
White.
of-
You
I don't
don't
want to make
say
you popular.
anytime,
Why I have to
anywhere.
promote you? Who are you?
Hey, Mirab, UFC won't make this fight. They ask you after your
and then we
fight.
have this fight. Shut up and be grateful. Be humble, okay?
It's happened not because of you want. It's happened because of UFC want this fight. I said UFC. Thank you so much, Dana. Thank you, Hunter.
Okay, that's
my
what
dream
you should say.
becoming
That's what you
dream
should say.
Hey,
true.
guys, sorry, I just have a question.
Yeah. So reporters had to jump in. Dana had to jump in. They just kind of went at it and took over the press conference. It was pretty nuts. I think Umar has a point, though. Like, Marab was kind of avoiding talking about him. He won the belt, and he's like, maybe O'Malley, maybe. Like, people wanted Umar, and it seemed like Umar was clearly the guy that was up next, and Marab was kind of like, I don't know. And Umar was like, yeah, you were ducking me.
But right after he said, okay, he'll take the fight. Like after, I don't know, man. I feel people are like, Mirab just finished fighting, man. And people are already asking him about like his next fight. And he's like, oh, I don't know. We'll see. And I got no problem with that. And I got no problem with Umar saying he was the guy that had to have the title shot and telling Mirab, you're ducking me. And I got no problem with Merab being offended with that, man. I don't know, man. It's just part of the fight circus.
Makes the fight more interesting, though, doesn't it?
It's a
The
good
beef?
fight, man.
What's up, Nate?
It's a good fight.
What's up, Nate?
Oh, hang on. Let me show you some Nate Diaz. Do I have Nate Diaz footage? Oh, I think I can show you Nate throwing a bottle. You want to see Nate throwing a bottle at Khabib's friends?
Well, I haven't mentioned it, but our setup's a little weird today. Like, I only see you on my screen. I don't see me. If I want to see me, I got to go on the YouTube channel.
Okay. Well, I'm going to show Nate to the people, Fred. There he is. Nate the Great Diaz. And that's Islam over there. Islam Makhachev. They're throwing water bottles at each other. And there's Alex Pereira. Look at this. Pereira looks like he's going after Nate Diaz. I'm going to pause here for a second and you're going to see Pereira. Look at that. That's a scary dude coming after you. You don't want that guy coming after you. He looks like he's walking after Nate. Did Pereira get sprayed with water? I don't know. So that was going on too. A lot going on this weekend, Fred. A lot going on. Kron Gracie making the walk. Kron Gracie coming out now for his fight. Is Nate with him? I don't know who's in Kron's corner. Kron, of course, the son of legendary Rickson Gracie. This guy is as Gracie as it gets. Yeah, that's Nate Diaz, isn't it? Show Nate Diaz. Put the camera fully on Nate. Kron looks like he just rolled out of bed. What's the deal? Why is his hair like that? No? Doesn't it look a
Not
little,
sure.
you know? What's going on with these guys? Why didn't they show Nate Diaz on camera yet? They didn't show Nate Diaz on camera at all. I'm pretty sure Nate's in his corner. They're not showing him.
He's not fighting.
Yeah, but still, usually they show the corner guys a little bit. It's like they avoided showing him there. No? We didn't get one clean half shot of Nate Diaz there in the corner? Is that him there?
I'm not sure.
Like, you can't even tell. Is it him? It looks like him.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, that's Nate. There he is. Like, you can't even tell in the lights and stuff. Like, they're not. As soon as you could tell it was Nate, they cut away immediately, Fred. I'm telling you, it's not Johnny North saying conspiracy. Maybe, Johnny. Maybe it is a conspiracy. I mean, you know, he is causing trouble backstage, throwing bottles at the champion.
Bryce Mitchell coming in at like the Ultimate Warrior.
Oh, my God. Bryce Mitchell just ran to the octagon with an American flag, carrying an American flag like this, just running with it in the wind in his camo shorts. My God. Bryce Mitchell is very American. Very. Strongly American.
USA.
Yeah. He's younger than Kron Gracie, I think. What's the
Not sure.
age difference in this one? I feel like he is, but you know, you never know. Kron just may look old. Kron is 36 and Bryce is 30. Yeah. There's a 6-year age gap there. Bryce Mitchell, 30 years old. He's had some ups and downs in the UFC. You know, he looked really good. He was undefeated, and then he ran into Ilia Topuria, who just totally handled him. But Ilia Topuria is the best in the world at 145 pounds. Mitchell beat Dan Ige after that, but then in his last fight a year ago, got knocked out by Josh Emmett. I think it's smart to take a year off after getting knocked unconscious. You just wonder how he bounces back in this fight. And, like, you know, what's the ceiling on Bryce Mitchell? He should win this fight, right? He's a huge favorite. He's a minus 800 favorite. He should really win this fight. If he loses this fight, it's kind of devastating. If he wins this fight, I think he's like maybe 2-3 fights away from a rematch with Topuria for the belt. You know what I mean? Like, he could get back into contention. He's got a 16-2 record. He's lost to Ilia Topuria and Josh Emmett. He's beat everybody else that he's fought so far. Why wouldn't he be in the mix? He's on the pay-per-views. He's got a following. You know what I mean? How many 145ers can you really think of? Movsar?
I mean, those are tough. Those are top level fighters. Topuria and Josh Emmett's a good fighter, so there's no shame in losing to those guys. He needs to win today, though. He cannot lose to Kron Gracie.
Before knocking out Bryce Mitchell, Josh Emmett went 5 full rounds with Ilia Topuria. You know what I mean? This is top-level MMA. We'll see what Kron can do. Kron should just get his ass kicked here. But I'm picking him to win for some reason. I don't know. I think it's worth a shot. He might win. Jiu-jitsu, right? Jiu-jitsu is good. I mean, I think Bryce will win, but hey, Kron is on your underdog parlay, which will cash in huge, right, Fred? So let's keep that going.
Yeah.
All right, this is a good one. Kron and Mitchell, Ciryl Gane after this. We're getting to the good fights here.
Here we go.
Bryce Mitchell, Kron Gracie. Don't call him Kron. It's Kron. Kron is not bad, though. Wow, somebody put down $5,000 on Kron Gracie with a payout of possible $36,000. Oh, Kron pulling guard. Mitchell follows him down to the mat. See, this is kind of what I was hoping for. Like, Kron playing jiu-jitsu and Mitchell obliging, and then Kron winning the game. But so far, Mitchell on top in half guard. He's got a good control of Kron Gracie right now. Got him flat on his back, but Kron trying to get an angle, trying to reach for a Kimura. Oh, Kron has put him back into full guard. Close guard now. How crazy would it be, Fred? A submission? Come on. Let's see a Gracie sub in the UFC. Let's see it. He's working for it. He's got an overhook. He's controlling the posture. Right now, Kron Gracie has Bryce Mitchell in his full guard. Bryce has got to stay real careful here. It's a dangerous area with a guy like Kron Gracie. He's a world-class jiu-jitsu player. Would you do this if you're Bryce Mitchell, or would you just have a stand-up fight with Kron?
I mean, right now, Kron has pulled guard, but has he been dangerous in any way? Like, I feel he's just holding on to Mitchell right now. He hasn't tried to attack a triangle or an armbar, and Mitchell is doing a good job of not really giving him his, like, he's giving his arms up, but he's able to pull them back as soon as Kron is trying to control one. So, I don't know. I don't see Mitchell being in real danger right now.
Not yet, right? Not so far, but it only takes
But as
one,
they
right?
get more, but as they get more sweaty, I think it's going to be harder and harder for Kron to attack from here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think this is a winning strategy right now for Kron. Like he pulled guard, but he didn't have nothing to follow up with.
Yeah. I mean, he's trying to work that kind of underhook posture thing with the arm, right? But he's not really attacked much. But Bryce Mitchell not doing too much. Like, Kron is staying active enough from his back where Mitchell's not really able to pull off anything from inside the guard. Like, I guess he's throwing these kind of little baby punches or whatever, but he really hasn't done any damage. Like, those little shots, I guess, on top, like the little body shots, a little pop, 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 I guess those count. But Kron is more active from his back than Mitchell is inside the guard. Mitchell's more defensive.
I don't know, man. I don't see it.
It's MMA, right? I mean, Mitchell's on top and he's throwing punches, but they're not,
to me,
heavy.
I'm gonna go blasphemy, but because you're not gonna like who I'm gonna compare it, but fucking George St. Pierre used to stay in people's guard and just do damage from there and never really be in danger. Tito Ortiz used to do that also in the old days. Like, I think there's a way to win from there for Bryce Mitchell.
Yeah, it's called the lay and pray, isn't it?
I mean, he's still throwing some shots, not much and all, but I don't see Kron throwing anything.
This is lay and pray, Fred. This is, come on, man. You know what this is? I mean, he's throwing shots, but they're not really, like, yeah, he's winning.
I'm giving him the first round, though, 10-9 Mitchell.
Sure. Oh, yeah, for sure. But it's not pretty. It's not a great round for Bryce Mitchell.
Like, he could do that for another 10 minutes and win.
Yeah. Kron put him in that position. He stayed there, stayed on top, and that was the round.
You think Nate has some good strategy for him?
No. Come on, man.
Throw a bottle.
Yeah. I don't think Nate's saying anything. They don't seem to be saying much to him at all. Is that Hickson in the corner too?
I don't know. I know him and Kron are like a little bit at odds from what I read. So like they might still. Like I read there is some type of maybe animosity between the both.
That's too bad. All right, well, round 2. I think that was a clear Bryce Mitchell round, but it was kind of uneventful. Let's see what we got for the second. How many more fights does Kron Gracie have on his contract? You know? UFC.
I hope not too many.
Fights. Yeah, right? Oh, that was a nice left hand from Kron. Kron's getting more aggressive. It's like Bryce was surprised that Kron could punch.
Yeah, but I feel he's going to go back to what he knows, which is pulling guard. And
he just ate a good combo from Bryce Mitchell, and he didn't like it.
And now he's trying to find a safe zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's trying to clinch him and pull guard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Mitchell gets close to him, and Kron pulls guard. And now, again, Bryce Mitchell in Kron Gracie's guard. Yep. Come on, Kron.
I'm not sure which announcer is saying he wants them standing back up, but I disagree. Like, they shouldn't be standing them up right now.
No. Yeah, Kron is just not able to do anything from the guard right now, and Mitchell is just kind of sitting there. I think maybe that's why they're saying they want them to maybe stand up, but like, come on. You got in this position, you got to fight up from this position. Kron put himself here. But this is not a very exciting fight so far. Oh, Mitchell getting out of the guard, deciding to stand back up. And they're back up. Not a bad idea. Ooh, Kron with a nice right hand. Kron getting aggressive. And again, pulls guard.
Man, I don't care how many fights he has left on his contract. Dana should like release him, man. Come on.
Cut him.
This is not to the level of a pay-per-view UFC.
No, this is...
I don't care about the name.
Pretty bad fight, yeah. I mean, this is the only Gracie they could get, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, there's nobody else. If you want a Gracie on a UFC card. Oh, he's going for the armbar! Come on, Kron!
Come on, Kron!
Oh, my God. Come on.
Pull it off.
He's got a hold of the armbar.
Pull it off.
Pull it off, Kron.
Come on.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Kron is trying to get the armbar. Mitchell is trying to stack him.
Yeah, he has to keep that weight on him.
Yeah, he's got to keep the pressure.
Oh, he lost it.
He lost it. Oh, he's going to switch, though. Whoa, he hasn't fully lost it.
I'll tell you what. He might be winning the round at least right now and making it 1-1, so.
Maybe. Oh, he's got Mitchell in a bad position. It's a better look for Kron right now. Oh! Oh, he's going to take his back. Oh, he's not quite going to have enough time. He's trying to get up to his back. Still has him in like a... It's still just the guard, really. Trying to stretch him out, grab a hold of the arm, but Mitchell's just staying really tight and defensive. Ooh. Kron's going for the armbar. Oh, he's got it. No way. Oh, my God. Oh, he's got it. Come on.
No, he lost it.
He lost it. Dude, he had it. He stretched
and
that
now
arm
he's
out
eating
pretty
shots.
good. Now he's taking a bunch of punches. Oh, and he stands up and the round ends. Oh, that was close.
I think it might be 1-1, man. I'm giving the round to Kron because he went for two arm bars. One of them was pretty close. And the second one was a good attack also. Like Mitchell defended it well, but it was a good attack from Kron. And Mitchell didn't do much in that round. Like the first round, he was in the guard doing a little damage, throwing punches. But this round, he didn't do at all. Even before those attempts, he wasn't throwing much in the guard.
I agree.
1-1.
I think it's
Come on,
1-1.
Kron. Pull it off.
Tap this fool. Get him. Get him. Wow. Kron Gracie having that armbar was pretty close, but Mitchell able to just slide out. Damn. All right, third round. How long into the round before Kron pulls guard? I'd say 30 seconds.
As
Just
soon as
run
he
up
can.
to him, clinch him.
And here we go.
And pull guard. Third round. Oh, Mitchell fell down throwing a knee, but Kron couldn't catch him. Mitchell popped back up to his feet. Kron moving forward, getting a clinch, and he pulls guard in 30 seconds.
Oh,
Oh, Kron just got knocked out with an elbow smash. Oh, my God. Whoa. Kron just got put to sleep with a couple heavy elbows from Bryce Mitchell.
on the guard.
From inside the guard.
Yeah.
As he pulled guard, like as they went down, he gave it some extra mustard and went pow, pow. That was really good timing on the elbow from Bryce Mitchell with the guard pull. Put Kron
Good
to
reaction
sleep.
from the ref to come in that quick. He must have saw it in his eyes or something like right away. Because Kron is still a little shaken up. Like he's awake, but you could see he's still a little feeling that hit. So that was a good stoppage from the ref.
That was nasty.
I mean,
Yeah,
the
Mitchell
slam also.
slams him.
Yeah.
Slams him,
Oh,
and then bam, big elbow.
Two.
Bam, another
Two elbows. Yeah.
Yeah, the first elbow put him to sleep. Wow. Well, there you go. That's what Bryce Mitchell. Oof. Yeah. You could tell he stiffened up after the first one.
Yeah.
Bam, he was out there. And then the second one, like, didn't need to happen. The referee couldn't jump in fast enough, but nasty elbow there from Bryce Mitchell finishes Kron Gracie in the third round of a good fight. It's a good fight. The first round was kind of boring, but the second round was pretty fun, at its moments. Mitchell finishes in the third. There it is. Kron Gracie bleeding pretty bad. Not standing with the referee for the official decision there as Bryce Mitchell's name is announced as the winner. There you go. Well, that's what you're supposed to do when you're a minus 800 favorite. You're supposed to finish your opponent, and that's what Bryce Mitchell did tonight. Finishes Kron Gracie. That guard pull finally bit him in the ass, Like it was kind of working for him there. It started working for him more and more as the fight went on, and then all of a sudden it didn't work anymore. Good ground and pound from Bryce Mitchell inside the guard. What is that necklace he's wearing?
Alligator teeth? No, I don't know what
Is
it
it alligator teeth? I don't know.
I don't know.
It looks like an animal teeth. It's got like beads and maybe some teeth on it. He's a weird guy, right, Bryce Mitchell? I don't know much about him, but I've heard he's strange. Didn't you send me something with Bryce Mitchell where he was saying weird stuff?
Yeah, he's stocking up on honey.
Why?
Well, honey is something that never goes bad. So if you stock up on honey and you buy it cheap, with inflation always going up, maybe you could make some money on honey, it seems, according to Bryce. And it's the first time I ever hear about that strategy. But, I mean, he's right when he says honey never goes bad. Like, you could buy a jar of honey and it's still going to be good in 10, 20 years, man. Honey doesn't go bad. So buy it cheap. In bulk. Very big bulk.
I mean, are you doing this now?
Me?
Yes.
No.
So, I mean, okay. We may get AJ at some point. I don't know. We'll see. AJ's communicating with me.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah. Okay, Bryce Mitchell stocking up on honey. Well, I didn't know about that, but, I guess it makes sense. Does it really not go bad, though? Doesn't it kind of harden over time?
Yeah, but you could just boil it. Like you put the pot in the boiling water and it comes back to normal.
Okay.
Honey doesn't go bad.
If you say so.
Telling you.
I mean, I believe it. Why would it? It's just sugar, isn't it? Honey's good. Who doesn't like honey, right?
I know. It's great.
Okay. So that's one, I guess, kind of weird thing about Bryce Mitchell, that he's stockpiling honey. Anything else weird about him?
mean, he believes in the flat earth and all that.
Oh. I don't know. It doesn't actually, if you think about how, a lot of people, good pizza, fancy people, you're going to get some luxury pizza. Like, yeah. You go to some of these pizza places, it's like $40-$50 for a small kind of pizza. It's good, but it's, expensive. I could see some of these Washington types eating that type of pizza. I'm saying
That's pizzas for like, let's say they paid $50 for each pizza. That's 1,000 pizzas, man. It's
say it's $50
no?
a head. $50 a person times, I don't know, how many? 100. How much is that? It's 5,000? No, I don't know.
Oh wow, Ciryl got some leg game.
Cyryl's going for a leg lock.
Ah, he doesn't have it.
No, but he was able to reverse a position and get on top.
Yeah, but
now Volkov reversing out of the leg lock. Cyryl's showing a little bit of grappling though. While we try to figure out how much pizza costs for some reason, Ciryl is getting back up to his feet. I'm just hungry for pizza now. I just want a slice of pizza. Yeah. Ooh, back up to their feet now. Volkov lands a nice kick to the body. Ooh, and a stiff jab. Volkov looking sharp so far.
Yeah, this has been a decent round, man. Volkov looks thicker, no? Didn't he put on a little muscle?
Ooh, nice knee to the body from Ciryl, but Volkov catches it and takes him down. Ciryl, though, trying to wrap up a guillotine. Putting the squeeze on him pretty good.
Yeah.
He's got him in the guard. He's squeezing hard. I don't think he's going to get him, though. He doesn't have the angle. But he's just neck cranking him really hard. Just trying to squeeze him. Wow. Ciryl didn't want to let go of the squeeze when the round ended. It was tight, but it was more like a tight headlock than anything, right? He just didn't quite have it. Too much arm, not enough crunch. You got to crunch. What the hell? I don't know. Ooh, Doug Hepburn says his conspiracy theory is Crave TV works fine, but then he got the cheap version with ads, and every time an ad pops up, it glitches, trying to make people buy the non-ad subscription.
So, Dave, is Netflix getting the whole library for WWE?
I don't think so.
Because network is shutting down now.
Yeah,
that's what I read. So the library has to go somewhere, man.
Back in the vault, I think. I mean, Netflix may get some stuff, but I really don't know what they're going to get. They can't get the whole WWE library.
And here we go.
I don't think that's going to happen. The days of having all the matches accessible to us, I think, are kind of gone, unless they figure out a different way.
Kind of sucks.
I mean, you think Netflix is going to carry everything on their servers? They get rid of stuff all the time. You think they're going to put all the wrestling on there?
Why not?
I don't think so.
It's just space, man. On a hard drive.
Yeah, but they seem to run out of the space, right? Netflix gets rid of stuff.
No, it's more about contracts. Like their own like original programming. They never get rid of that.
Yeah,
like
they do.
Netflix. Real like what series?
Yeah. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that they do.
I don't think so. I think the original series are there for always. It's Netflix owned. Why would it take it off?
I don't know. Oh man, that was a nice spinning back fist attempt there from Volkov. Just sailed over the head of Ciryl. Ciryl landed.
Tell you,
nice
man,
punch,
Volkov's gonna win this, man.
Did he hit him with that back fist? I think he may have clipped him. Like he just kind of
and that right overhand was pretty good. Also, like
yeah.
I don't know. I like Volkov here.
Well, Volkov was winning the early rounds. They're showing a replay. Oh, yeah, he just clipped him with that spinning back fist. That was a good shot there from Volkov. Like, Volkov was winning the early rounds in their last fight, but it was a 5-rounder, and Ciryl came on strong later on, but he doesn't have those rounds 3, 4, 5 to take over. He's got to take over now, and I think he lost the first round, and he's losing this one too. What do you think? Did he lose the first round? Who won the first round?
Volkov.
Yeah, right? Johnny North is saying that Netflix is getting a lot of the WWE library. I don't know how much.
Well,
I wonder.
If they want my money, they better get it because I like to watch the old stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope they get it. I have no idea.
We're getting into the season where I get back into wrestling every year. Royal Rumble to about Money in the Bank. That's like my wrestling period of the year every year.
Yeah. Well, that's really the best time. January to March, April, right? January basically.
I usually go all the way to Money in the Bank.
Oh, yeah.
I like that pay-per-view.
Then you drop out.
Yeah, sometimes they'll get me back with SummerSlam, but I didn't watch Survivor Series at all.
Oh, apparently there's a lot. Johnny North sent me a video of Netflix somewhere. Looks like in Israel. There's Hebrew letters on this, and they have, I guess, all sorts of back catalog. I don't understand where this video is coming from, Johnny, but I guess somebody somewhere has it early, the Netflix WWE deal. I don't know. So apparently they're going to have a lot of stuff, Fred. You don't have Netflix? You don't have a subscription?
Not no more.
Mm.
Not since they cracked down on sharing accounts.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Ciryl with a big takedown. Volkov was going for a choke. Ciryl takes him down, though. Gets a side control.
Can
he could Von Flew him.
And he
I mean,
he trapped his arm. He's going to struggle to get his arm out. Yeah.
And Ciryl, like, if Ciryl squeezes the right way, but Volkov is defending the Von Flew a little bit. He's kind of holding the shoulder to avoid it, but wow. Well, Ciryl just kind of led him back to their feet. It's been a close round. Oof. But I feel like Volkov is landing way more shots. Tough fight for Ciryl. He's not moving like he used to, right? Like the bounce is not there. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, he does feel stiff a little bit, like he's not fluid.
No. What happened? Are you about to take a break on me, Fred?
Maybe.
Oh, you bastard. Can I do a be right back? Can I do one of those? Do I have that? Do I have like a commercial break? I'm not asking you. I'm actually in the production staff. Do we have a be right back?
You could text AJ, see if he's close.
Yeah. See about AJ. I have a button that says be right back. I just don't know
you saw that
does.
spinning kick, that spinning fist on the replay, man? It did connect, like the one you were saying early in the round. You saw
it did, right? It clipped him.
Oh, yeah, you saw the spit come out of Cyryl's mouth.
Yeah. The live odds right now have this as a pick 'em fight, -115. I mean, Ciryl did land some shots in that second round.
Probably 1-1.
Yeah, -115 on either side. It could be 1-1. Ciryl may have stolen that second round in the latter half. Like, it was close. It was close. First round, too, like, Ciryl did have his moments.
Here we go.
It's been a close fight. But Ciryl doesn't look like You know, he doesn't look as sharp as he has in the past.
How old is Ciryl now?
Let me tell you. Ciryl gains
34.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You know,
Time
he might be
flies.
slowing down a bit.
Oh, nice single leg.
Oh, nice takedown
Yeah,
by
but no,
Volkov.
he's
But
gonna give-
Ciryl,
Yeah, he's going to give his back.
nice counter. That was a really nice, quick counter, trying to hook up on the back.
Volkov
And-
didn't chain it with nothing. He got the
Nope.
takedown and like stalled there.
Yeah. And Ciryl might wind up on his back or at least with a crucifix. Oh, but Volkov doing a good job of
Yeah, he's in a half guard with a Kimura grip.
re-engaging.
Let's see
Yeah.
what he could do with it.
Ciryl going for a Kimura right now. Cyryl's got a hold of Volkov's arm in a Kimura grip. Volkov's got to be real careful in the half guard of Ciryl Gane right now.
Cyryl's left leg is not placed right, though. I don't know if he could get the leverage from there.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, he's trying to
It
get
seems-
that left leg over there.
Yeah. But even there, it seems a little bit awkward,
Yeah.
his position to get the Kimura. So
Yeah.
I don't think he'll be able to get the leverage.
No,
Oh.
Volkov is defending well.
He's
Oh,
spinning
Cyryl's
on it
trying to
now,
roll
but-
with it.
yeah. To armbar.
Oh,
Oh.
he might be able to yank it out there. Cyryl's doing a good job.
Yeah.
This is
I'll
some
give him
improved
props, man.
jiu-jitsu from Ciryl. Oh, but he's going to find himself
Yeah, no.
in bottom side control, I think, and in some
Yeah.
trouble. I mean, I think he's still technically in like a half guard, but just it's like a quarter guard right now.
He needs to
Volkov
get
is
his
gonna get
arm,
his arm free.
Volkov's arm out. Like until Volkov's arm's in front of his own stomach, Cyryl's not gonna be able to get the leverage on the Kimura.
And Fred knows what he's talking about. His Kimura is very good. Fred's got a good Kimura.
Position I love.
Yeah, where Ciryl is right now, bottom half guard, is exactly where Fred hits a Kimura all the time. If you ever roll with the Fred and he comes close to a Kimura grip from bottom half, just like get your arm out of there quickly. That's my strategy, Fred. I just get the hell out of there. It's danger.
Tell you what, man, he's gonna win the round though. Maybe right now. I don't know. It's a tough round to judge, but Volkov's not doing nothing, just defending the Kimura grip.
If you're holding Kimura grip and eating little punches to your body, are you winning the round? I'm honestly asking. Like, I'm not sure.
It's hard to judge. That's what I said.
That's it. Like,
'Cause I
Ciryl
think-
seems to be
I don't
closer
think
to
those
a
little
finish.
those little punches are not dangerous at that point, man.
No. I think the Kimura is more dangerous, but he didn't lock it up. And in the end, Volkov did throw those punch. I don't know. You know, it's tough to judge. You know, usually in MMA, the guy that's on top is going to be scoring the points. Right now, Volkov is on top, in top half, throwing baby punches at Ciryl. Cyryl's lost a Kimura grip and is just kind of sitting there eating nothing punches, but still. Did my feed just freeze out?
Oh, yeah.
Did yours too?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. That was the end of the fight too. What happened? Where are we? Somebody help. I think we'll refresh our feed. I think our video froze out. We're back. And Volkov finishing this fight on top of Ciryl.
Yeah, on top, man. That's gonna. I don't know. I think I'm gonna say it's a Volkov round. This one.
I think he may have stolen the round. Ciryl is just lying down at the
He's
end of this
tired.
fight, lying down on the mat, and Volkov with his arms in the air. We may take a short commercial break after this decision, Fred, before the next for the co-main event. What do you think? Short commercial break?
I just need like 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, me too. I'll take the same. Text me when you're ready. We'll go back on together. Awaiting this decision here. Ciryl Gaines and Alexander Volkov. I think Volkov may have stolen this one. I think Volkov won this fight 29-28. Maybe even 30-27, to be quite frank. Quite frankly.
I know you were saying like Spivak, not Spivak, Pavlovich like got destroyed by Aspinall and wasn't the same. But I was impressed when Volkov beat Pavlovich, and I'm impressed by Volkov tonight. Like Volkov keeps evolving as a fighter, and he's a nice heavyweight in the division. Like he's got some talent. I don't know how far he'll get, but he brings some good fights.
He's very talented.
Also, he's tall and lanky, and like his striking. He's able to connect way earlier and often than his opponents.
However,
let's see.
He fought Tom Aspinall before, and he got tapped. Gane has not fought Aspinall yet. It would have been a really fun fight, and it's probably not going to happen now. He would have been a great challenge for Aspinall. And now we're getting to the decision. It's unanimous. Oh, wait, no, it's split.
Split?
Whoa.
Who the fuck gave 2 rounds? Oh, man. Yeah. What?
Oh, Ciryl wins a split. No fucking way.
You saw his face. Even him was like, what? I won?
Surprised as hell. He can't believe he won.
That is bullshit. He's mad. Fucking Cyryl's
gone.
He doesn't
Cyryl's
want
mad too.
to.
He's not even doing the interview. Cyryl's leaving in disgust.
He knows he didn't win this. He's limping. What's wrong with his leg? What happened?
Oh, no. He's limping. Oh, no. He's leaving. His coach told him to come back to do the interview. Holy shit. Oh, what's he going to say? He just left. Volkov is pissed. Ciryl looks confused. Ciryl saying it was really tight. He did a really good job. Wow.
Bullshit.
Yeah, I think Volkov won, man.
Definitely, man. Like, in this last round, okay, Ciryl held the Kimura grip for a minute and a half, 2 minutes maybe, but it was never close to getting finished. And I mean, the whole rest of the whole round, Volkov's on top, and once he got rid of that Kimura grip, he was doing some damage. So I don't know, man. That's a very weird decision. I'd like to see the cards, like the scorecards, see what rounds they actually gave him and all.
We'll get
he
them.
broke his toe.
He broke his toe,
That's what
yeah.
he's saying. Yeah.
Second round, I think. Ciryl seems upset. He says he's upset with the fight and with the performance. And he's injured, too. Cyryl's pissed. Ciryl wins, and he's pissed. Wow, he's surprised. I did not think he was going to win that fight. I don't think he did win that fight. I thought Volkov won 29-28. And we're back. Were you on and you didn't know you were on?
At some point, I noticed.
Dun, 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 dun. We're back. Short commercial break. And, wow.
Longest smoke break.
Longest smoke break ever. That was so quick.
That's coming from somebody that doesn't smoke.
Yeah, exactly. He has no idea. It's usually 45 minutes. You guys are lucky I'm back at all. Took 3 puffs and got back here. God damn. I'm still shocked Ciryl Gane won that fight. Unbelievable. Shavkat is next, baby. Shavkat and Ian Machado Garry. Shavkat versus.
So both these guys have beaten like pretty much the same guys in the UFC. An interesting matchup still. Like I know we all believe Shavkat's gonna win, but I'm not gonna count out Garry completely.
No.
He could surprise people.
Yeah, he's tough. He's got good hands. He's durable. He's young. He's undefeated, which gives him a lot of confidence. Like, he's dangerous. You can't count him out. He's, he hasn't been solved yet, right? But just Shavkat seems so good, man. You're picking Shavkat.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Would you pick him over
Allen
Bilal?
Yeah, I think Shavkat will win because, but again, I'm not gonna underestimate Bilal and say it's like not even close. Bilal definitely has a shot. Bilal's wrestling. Bilal's a smart fighter. Like, it's something to deal with also. Fucking our buddy Allen is doubting Volkov has a brown belt because I go to Allen. Volkov got robbed and he goes, "Oh, he's dog shit, man." BJJ brown belt.
Everybody's dog shit to Allen.
Yeah.
Allen doesn't think anybody's good except for Ilia Topuria. I don't know anybody he thinks is actually good other than Topuria. Even then, Topuria's like 1 fight away from not being good. Yeah, Usyk. He loves Usyk. It's like, chill, bro. He probably thinks Shavkat sucks, right? Ridiculous.
Probably.
Ridiculous. So here we go. Ian Machado Garry walking out. Where are we at here? That's not it. There it is. Shavkat. Ian Machado Garry. This is the co-main event. This is what we came to see. This is kind of like the real main event.
Somebody's gotta go.
Mm-hmm. I love it. It doesn't really matter who wins, man, because either way, you get a very legit contender out of this fight. Shavkat or Ian Machado Garry, you get.
What are they ranked right now in the division, both of these guys? Because I would think they're probably top 5 for sure, both. Shavkat definitely. Garry probably.
Right now, Shavkat is ranked 3. Garry's ranked 7.
Okay. That's a little low for Garry, but who's in front of him?
We got Leon Edwards 1 behind Bilal, who's the champ, obviously. Kamaru Usman 2. Then Shavkat. Then Sean Brady. Then Jack Della Maddalena. Then Kobe Covington. Then Ian Machado Garry.
Okay. Colby's fighting who next week?
Next week, Kobe Covington, number 6, is going to fight the number 9, Joaquin Buckley. So, I think Buckley's going to win that fight, too. I think Covington's done.
Yeah, he's old.
Yeah. It's time to move on from the Kobe Covington days. I think we're good. We're good. All right. Shavkat time. Shavkat about to make the walk. See people. Johnny North saying, oh, they're talking about Juan Soto in the chat. Soto to the Red Sox. Oh, my God.
Did he?
No. It's not happening. Johnny's just hopeful. He's wishful. It's a possibility. He's talking to the Red Sox for sure. Apparently, he's going to make his decision in like the next 48 hours. We should know. By the end of the weekend or Monday, we'll know for sure. I think he's going to stick with the Yankees. I think it's the best move.
How much? How much is it going to cost?
Let me tell you what the latest offer was. Because it was a lot. It was over 700.
For how many years?
It was 700 to 710 to $730 million range for, I think, 14 years.
How old is Soto?
25.
That is long. 14 years is way too long, man.
Yep. 14 or 15 years. With about a $43 million annual salary for 14 years.
Baseball,
I mean, it probably, honestly, Fred, like 14 years, okay. The first 5 to 10 years, it's a fine deal. In 5 years, it's probably a bargain. Given how prices keep going up and up and up for players, in 5 years' time, when Soto is 29, you're probably looking at the 700 whatever million dollars and going, wow, we got him for a steal. As good as he is, as young as he is, and as the prices keep going up, it's kind of like a deal getting him at this price at this point. Right? Like, the prices, it's not like salaries are going down for baseball players.
Yeah, but it's more about the years. If he gets seriously injured in year 3 or 4, like, look at Albert Pujols when he went to Anaheim. Like, he had a good couple of seasons, decent season, but he never was what he was in St. Louis. And I don't know. I would be scared to give that for that long. Man.
But this is the market. You know what I mean?
Like,
this is
I don't
what
have
he's
a problem.
Gonna get.
Give him the $50 million a year. That I don't have a problem. But man, if you're going over 10 years, it's starting to be a lot of years.
Well, of course, but think about this. It's what he wants. So, like, if this is what he wants, teams are going to give it to him. So if you want to have this player, this is what players get. They get the contracts. He gets to call his shots. He's got to a point where he's this great that a team will give him a ridiculous deal where they know the last few years aren't going to be great, but whatever. You'll win with him. It's not like it's just the Yankees that are willing to pay this. Teams are tripping over themselves, outbidding each other, trying to give him this deal. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, he's asking for it and nobody's really biting. Everybody's just desperate to give him the $730 million and just like, please come with us.
Isn't there? I mean, yeah, for now, the first couple of years, great. But at some point, man, that $50 million a year, you could spend it differently. But yeah, that's the market. That's the market.
For sure. But I think in 10 years' time, when Juan Soto's 35, $50 million or $40 million, whatever it'll be for him per year, won't seem like that much. And honestly, it doesn't seem like that much now when you consider that Luis Severino, who is a very mid-range pitcher, just signed a 3-year deal with Oakland for $66 million. Right?
Expos are never coming back.
No. He signed a ridiculous deal with the Oakland A's. $67 million over 3 years. It's like a $22-something million salary per year. Juan Soto is more than twice the value of a Luis Severino to a baseball team. right? Luis
I don't know.
Severino sucks. The Yankees got rid of him. They didn't want him anymore. He was garbage. He had one kind of decent bounce back season with the Mets. Now all of a sudden, he's making $22 million a season, and you're telling me Juan Soto at $43 million a season is like too much? It's actually not enough. If I'm Juan Soto, I'm going, well, I'm 3 to 4 times the player at least that this guy is. I should be making $80 million, $100 million a year. Honestly, that's what I'd be looking for, like, for a team. I'd be like, give me $500 million for 3 years. You know? I don't know why these players want to get locked up for these giant contracts for a long period of time. I know they have opt-out deals where they can jump out of the deal, but, you know, I don't know. I would just get tons of money over a short time and then, quit. All right. It's Ian Machado, Garry, and Shavkat Rakhmonov. Here we go.
And here we go.
Damn. We're here. Shavkat fights feel like big deals every time now. You know? Feels like, ooh, Shavkat's fighting. It's like a title fight almost. Circling each other so far.
I don't think anybody threw anything. Okay.
No, there's a jab from Shavkat to both. Machado kind of fired back with one. Shavkat's landed, though. And that's all that's really happened so far. First minute of action. Shavkat now pushing Garry up against the cage, clinching him up. Could be looking for a takedown. He's got Garry pinned up against the fence. He's got double underhooks now on Garry.
Garry's not easy to take down, I feel. He has good takedown defense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure about his numbers, but when I remember him fighting, he's always been hard to take down. He's tall, lanky, and he has a good base, like to spread out when you try to take him down.
So far, staying on his feet. Shavkat trying to off-balance him. But Shavkat's got a good hold of him. Like, he's not getting out, He's not really able to get out of these underhooks. He's like, Shavkat's got double underhooks, and Garry's just kind of stuck right now. Oh, Shavkat looking for that takedown, trying to just drag him down. Almost tripped him. Almost.
Good takedown defense still. Good balance from Garry.
That was really good balance from Garry to avoid
and I'll tell you what, like, Shavkat has great cardio, I'm sure. But this type of battle, I think, is harder on Shavkat than Garry. Like, Garry, right now, Shavkat is spending a lot of energy trying to get the takedown. And if he doesn't get it, sometimes it will change a little bit how the fight goes after. I'm intrigued to see if he ends up getting the takedown and how much he'll try to go for a takedown after if he doesn't.
Shavkat, though, making Garry carry his weight a little bit, too.
Yeah.
He's doing a good job of just kind of leaning on him. But you're right, if the takedown doesn't come. Oh, and now Garry looking for a takedown of his own, and he almost got it. Shavkat had to Get some real nice defense there. Garry getting the underhooks and looking for a similar trip takedown to what Shavkat was doing. Ooh, a little bit of gamesmanship in there with Ian Machado Garry. Saying you can't do it to me. I think I could do it to you. That was nice. Like he came as close to Shavkat did, you know?
Yeah, he almost finished it.
Yeah.
He almost finished that takedown.
Yeah. But neither man really able to land the takedown. A lot of clinching against the fence. Shavkat now just pushing Garry up against the fence. A lot of pushing, a lot of clinching, a lot of trying to off balance. Not a lot of strikes thrown. Not a lot of, concrete action. Oh, that was a good right hand from Shavkat, though. Just as I said that, it was like, boom, there's one. And now again, they clinch up against the fence. Garry's back is all red from the cage. He's been kind of getting pressed and grinded up against the cage as his back is red, but it's not going to finish a fight. Probably doesn't even notice. Interesting first round. I think that was Shavkat's round, but not very eventful.
Probably. I'm interested to see how the second round starts. How quick they get into a clinch and all that, because Shavkat didn't get that takedown. Is he going to continue to want to pursue that strategy? Can he, if this becomes more of a striking battle, who has the edge?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think Shavkat's going to keep doing this. I don't think there's a reason to stop doing what he's doing because it worked. And I think the more he does it, eventually he will grind him down and find that takedown. And then once he gets him down, he might be able to finish him. I think that's the mentality. That's got to be the game plan for Shavkat so far. I think he's going to clinch him up and look for the takedown throughout the fight. I think what we saw in the first is what the game plan is for the whole fight. We'll see.
And here we go.
Nice kick.
Yeah.
I love John Jones.
Garry with that push kick to the knee. Nice little jab from Garry. I think this is what he's got to do. I think he's got to stay away from Rakhmonov, not get clinched up, and just try to play at a kickboxing distance. But Rakhmonov is dangerous too.
Garry looks confident.
Yeah.
I'm liking what I see right now. He doesn't want to get back into that clinch, so he's got to stay active and try to hurt Shavkat with these strikes to keep those distance. And he's doing that right now. Nice little jab. It's stopping Shavkat from cutting those distance.
Yeah. And the leg kick too.
Yeah.
The leg kick's working well too. And you can see Shavkat reacting to it already. He's taken two of them to the knee. When Shavkat kind of takes a step forward, Garry throws that kick to the knee. I think Shavkat's knee might be a little bit bruised up. I don't know if he's hurt, but you see his lead knee, his left knee looks a little
Could be.
red.
Yeah. Those kick could fuck up a knee, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So that was a smart move there from Garry. Oh, as Shavkat pops in the jab. This has been more of a kickboxing round, though. Shavkat not really able to close the distance and get into a clinching position. It just hasn't happened yet.
Not getting the takedown could discourage a guy. To keep on that strategy shows a lot of mental fortitude, I would say. He's looking for his opportunity, but he's not as aggressive for the clinch as he was in the first round. Like, I'm sure if he gets into like a striking exchange close and he has a chance to clinch up, that's what you see, like there.
There you go.
That's what he wants. Yeah.
Yeah. And they clinch up there.
Now
They
he's
get
on
close.
the cage, so let's
Yeah,
see
that's
if
it.
Machado can keep it that way.
Yeah, Garry pushing Shavkat into the cage. Now here, if I'm Garry, I would separate.
Yeah.
Because this
I
is where
agree.
Shavkat wants to be, and Garry has been kind of winning the distance stand-up fight,
Yeah.
and now they're back in a clinch position, and Garry is
And
engaging
now,
with him.
yeah.
And now Shavkat reverses the position, pushes Garry into the fence, and now he's controlling the fight.
And as he reversed, he tried to get away, Garry, but he couldn't. And just before that, he had both underhooks, and he had a chance to get away. When he had both underhooks, he could have got away from Shavkat, but Shavkat pummeled back in and won back in, won an underhook, and after that, Garry wasn't able.
It's like he made the decision to get away too late. It was
Yeah,
just too
exactly.
late when he was like, oh, you know what? Let's not even do this. But it was too late because Shavkat already had him wrapped up. And now he's pushing him up against the cage.
Yeah. And now he might lose the round because of that, man. I don't know. It's going to be a tight round. Started well standing up, but right now it's back to Shavkat.
The judges that gave it to Ciryl Gane, by the way, Fred, they gave him the first 2 rounds. 2 judges gave him the first 2. All 3 judges gave him the first round, and then 2 out of 3 gave him the second. And that was the fight.
Surprise. That first round to me was more Volkov, but I'll
Ciryl
have to
had his moments
rewatch.
too. It was, it was a closer round. Weren't we talking about pizza?
All right, distance, man. Come on, Machado. You got to get a couple strikes in. Oh, nice spinning by Shavkat.
Yeah, that was a nice spinning back fist by Shavkat.
Come on, Machado. You need some strikes in. I picked Shavkat, but right now I'm cheering. My parlay's out. Fuck it. I'm just cheering for anybody.
Cheering for some weird shit to happen. Ooh, nice left hand by Shavkat.
Like, Machado has grown on me. I've been having fun with his whole story and all, but as far as his fighting, man, I'm impressed, man. The guy's a good fighter, man. I won't dismiss him as a prospect, as somebody that has a future, because he does have a future, I believe.
I was defending him through all that stuff, Fred, for the record. All that stuff, I was on his side. I was on him and his wife's side. I thought everybody was just jumping to conclusions and being way too mean and way too invasive in their private life. MMA people were making up all sorts of stories, and it was crazy. It was over the line. And he handled it pretty well, considering. But he's losing this fight. I think he lost the first 2 rounds.
Probably.
I've got Shavkat up 2018 so far. We'll see. Angelo Contagonis in the chat. Oh, they're not the Oakland A's anymore. They're just the A's.
And here we go.
Right? Because they're in Sacramento. Angelo mentioning that in the chat. Sacramento. And then they're moving to somewhere else, right?
Las Vegas.
Vegas. When?
I'm not sure. I think they got to build. It's like this, like they got a rendering of the stadium they want to build, and it's fucking nice. I think, there is like a dome. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, because Vegas in the summer is not really good for baseball. Too hot. Can't do it.
I mean, it's like an open dome. Like, Google it. Like, Google Las Vegas baseball stadium. Like the rendering, and it has like a screen. It's weird, but it looks cool, man.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's like an open dome. There is like a roof, but it's not
Totally
everywhere.
closed. Weird. Or maybe it closes up?
Not 100% sure.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be nice.
Oh, Machado with a couple of nice strikes here.
I mean, they're both landing so far. Shavkat landed a jab. Machado fired back with a left hook. The striking exchanges have been pretty tight.
If he could stay away from the clinch, I feel he could win some rounds on these striking. Because his striking, I feel, has been just as good as Shavkat. And where Shavkat really takes over the rounds is once he manages to get those clinches.
There's a clinch again here.
You see, he should look to get away if possible.
That's it. Garry just kind of stays with him on the fence.
And you see, he got reversed
him,
now.
And then he gets reversed. And then he gets his back pushed to the fence. He should have just disengaged immediately. And then he tries to disengage when it's too late. And Shavkat just keeps him pinned. This hasn't been a very exciting fight. You know? It's like...
I mean, I respect the grind because I know, like, I don't have my sound on, so I wouldn't be surprised if the crowd is booing. But I know this is very hard physically to fight like this. Like, this is a grind on both sides. The guy going for the takedown is really spending a lot, and the guy defending has to be focused, like, completely, because as soon as Garry is off balance, Shavkat would get a takedown. So Garry is really focused on his defense. And so this is not easy. Like, this is, like, people might be booing, but this is far from easy to fight like that. They're not choosing to fight that way to take the easy route.
No, but like, I mean, they just got separated because they're just kind of holding each other against the fence. It's kind of a stalemate is the problem. Like, it's not that it's not difficult and, you know, they're not trying hard. It's just they're not getting anywhere.
I know.
They're not stalling.
But it's not by a lack of effort. Shavkat is putting in the effort to get that takedown, and Garry's putting in a fucking extra effort of not getting takedown. So
yeah,
I still respect the craft, but yeah, I understand that it's not the greatest spectacle.
Just that separation, you know. They had to separate. I think the separation wasn't bad. I'm usually against it, but I feel like they were just kind of holding at that point. Nothing was going anywhere. Just separate, see what happens. Ian Garry's shorts, like the back of his shorts, are ripped. Like on his ass, the shorts are ripped open. You see that?
I didn't notice. Yeah.
See that? Oh, nice right hand from Shavkat as the round comes to an end.
It's probably 3-0 Shavkat.
Yeah.
But who knows, man? That last fight, man, the judging was a little off, in my opinion. So who knows? But I would lean towards 3-0, yeah, Shavkat.
Yeah, I would too. But, yeah. I've not loved this fight. I'd like them to turn up the heat a little bit. Something, you know, maybe take a little bit more risk. There's just kind of... Garry needs to take more risks.
They want to change his shorts.
They have new shorts for him. They're like, do you want to change your shorts? And he's like, what? Okay. Now they're putting a towel around him so he can take his shorts off.
It's the first time I've ever seen that.
I have never seen that ever. They have new shorts for him that they're giving him.
Like, I knew like fighters are required to have a second mouthpiece in case that the first mouthpiece gets lost or whatever. I didn't know they were required to have a second pair of shorts on hand.
This is crazy. I've never seen this before. He's got to tie them and everything, too? What the hell? That's nuts. His shorts were ripped. So they gave him a new pair of shorts between rounds, and he got them on.
And here we go.
Now we're in the fourth. I've never seen that before. Let alone in a big fight like this. Like, that's crazy. And they're different shorts, too. It's not even the same pair of shorts. Just like a different pair of blue shorts.
They look similar. They look maybe a little longer, no?
Yeah, they're longer. They're different. It's not the same shorts.
I would guess, like, because since who does it? Venom? Like, I would guess the fighters, they get there and they got different models and they choose whatever, you know, like you got the short, tight ones or you got the more baggy, like Shavkat has. They probably have at least 5-6 different options to choose from.
Yeah. Doesn't seem like the gear's that great, though. Like, this is the first time he wore those shorts. You know what I mean?
I mean, it could happen. It could happen, man. It's the first time it's happened, to my knowledge. So.
Yeah, but should it happen, though? Should it ever happen? If you're making good gear, it should be able to withstand one MMA fight at least without ripping. You know what I mean?
It should not be ripping. But with that said, I'm sure they'll analyze what happened and try to make it better, man. That's how it works, man. Like in NASCAR, they'll always analyze the car after the crash to see, like, hey, what went wrong? Why did this part of the car crumbled in? Why did this happen? Yeah. So I'm sure they got a research and research and development team going on it. Machado's looking a little tired now. I know Shavkat just went in for a takedown.
Oh, Shavkat got the takedown. He got it.
I saw his face. I saw Machado's face like, oh, he doesn't look the same now. He looks like he's puffing a little more, and Shavkat should have probably saw the same thing. And this might
killer instinct, man. Like he sees the weakness and he attacks. He's like a shark. And now Shavkat in the close guard of Ian Machado landing hammer fists. It's like he saw something in Ian Machado and then he went for that takedown hard. He like shot at those legs. It was a power double. Went in hard. Oh, big hammer fist now from Shavkat. Oh, and he gets to Garry's back, passes the guard. But he slides off the back.
Oh.
He got too excited, slid off the back, but now he's working for a single leg. Oh, Ian Machado, Garry's got a choke.
No.
Oh, Shavkat slipped out. Holy shit. Now Shavkat on the back of Garry. Whoa, that choke
good little exchange here.
The choke looked dangerous for a second there. Shavkat slipped out real nicely. It's like he made his head disappear to get out of the arms. That was nuts. Now Machado, Garry's got one knee down. And Shavkat on his back. Shavkat now on the back of Garry. Garry back to his feet, but Shavkat behind him with that body lock. Still got a hold of him. Trying to whip him around and throw him down, but Garry, nice balance, stays on his feet. Oh, Garry goes for a spinning back fist. Shavkat goes for the takedown. Garry looks to counter with a guillotine, but it was not there. Yeah. Shavkat pops his head out pretty quick. Now in the guard. See, it's kind of what I was saying, like, after the first round, Fred. Like, I think Shavkat is just going to keep going for the takedown, and eventually it'll just come.
Yeah, but he did in round 2 and 3. He didn't go as much for the takedown. He took his time to analyze when going for the takedown. Where the whole first round was him clinching, pushing. But yeah, he went back to his strategy. Like I was saying, also, as soon as he has an opportunity, he'll go for it. But he wasn't like
But I'm saying
pushing.
Like, that
but now
he
sees
it's been the strategy all fight. Just kind of clinch him up when you get close and try to take him down, push him against the fence.
Yeah, but the first round he really went for the clinch right away, like pushing towards him and forward. And the second round he was a little more tentative. But now he sees his prey is very tired, and this is the time for him to go for it.
That was very much a Shavkat round. I have Shavkat winning all 4 rounds so far.
Yeah.
Kyle Fletcher pinned Okada in AEW tonight. That's ridiculous. They're over pushing Kyle Fletcher. It's outrageous. I'm offended, Fred. You should be too. He pinned Okada. Kyle Fletcher pinned Okada. Why? What are we doing? What is Tony Khan thinking? AEW is such a shit show right now.
And here we go.
All right, round 5. I figured this would go the distance. I don't want it to, but I kind of thought it would. Shavkat by decision was my pick, and it looks like we're going to get there. Shavkat threw a spinning kick, almost landed on Garry, but Garry just out of the way. Oh, Shavkat going for that takedown again. Garry defends. Shavkat still chasing it. Oh, Garry reverses, gets to the back of Shavkat. Oh, my goodness.
That would be something.
Oh, my goodness.
And look, Shavkat's both hands are not really on the choking hand. I don't know. I don't have a great angle, but.
Whoa. Garry's got a body triangle now. He's on Shavkat's back. He's closed up the body triangle. Shavkat's defending the choke now. I think he was just trying to defend the body, defend the legs, but then he lost that battle, and now he realizes he's in way more trouble than he thought he was.
Garry has to be aggressive
got
here.
His back.
He needs a finish.
Oh my God, he's going to squeeze hard. Oh my God.
I don't know. I don't like the angle. Can he finish him from here? I don't like the angle.
You want to Hamzat him. Hamzat him like Robert Whittaker.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Garry's squeezing. He might be getting Shavkat. Shavkat is in big trouble. Ian Machado, Garry on the back, and he's putting the squeeze on. He doesn't have him under the chin, but he is squeezing
Shavkat
his face. Oh, Shavkat is it hurts, but he's gonna survive. He's gonna keep fighting unless he gets choked
there's
out.
3 minutes left.
You're gonna have to choke him unconscious to beat him. He's not gonna tap to pain. And Shavkat turning in. He's gonna turn in and get out of the back mount. Garry's not giving up the body triangle, but he really should. He really should readjust.
I mean, if he lets go of the body triangle, Shavkat's going to end up in his guard, and I think is going to be the end of the fight. But, yeah, he doesn't have much here either.
No.
Like, ideally, he would be able to pass under Shavkat's left arm and go back to the back, but Shavkat's left arm is blocking him for that. So.
See, right now, separate the body triangle, go to the hips, or close the guard. Like, the body triangle now is so not offensive. Like, he had moments, but for some reason he's staying locked into this position. He's not going to be able to get offensive or get off his back. Like, right now, he's in the guard, and it's like that body triangle. It's not good for him.
Tell you what, man, I think this was a great fight, man. This has been a very interesting fight.
Interesting fight. I don't know. There's been kind of boring moments, though, no?
I don't know. I liked it, man. Like I say, both guys have been active. I don't think anybody at any point was being inactive.
No, they both were fighting the whole time, that's for sure. They didn't take it easy. Just a lot of moments up against the fence where neither guy was able to make anything happen. But we have had some very exciting moments in this fight. Especially just there with Garry on the back of Shavkat trying to squeeze him to death and get a finish. Shavkat was in some real danger, but now he's out of the danger. He's on top of Garry. He has passed the guard, and now he's on the back of Garry throwing punches. No matter what, even if Ian Machado Garry does lose a decision here, he will be the first man to go the distance with Shavkat. He's already spent more time in the octagon than anybody else in Shavkat's career. No one has gone past the third round with Shavkat Rakhmonov, and Ian Machado Garry right now in the dying seconds of the fifth round. About to see the judges. No one else has gone the distance with Shavkat Rakhmonov. Everybody else has been finished by this man. Impressive performance no matter what. I think Shavkat's going to take the decision, though. I'd be shocked if he didn't. But, hey, we were shocked that Volkov didn't.
I mean, I think even Ciryl and Volkov were shocked.
Ciryl looks shocked. Volkov looks shocked and mad. Ciryl looks shocked and mad, too, and he won. You know? They both looked upset by the decision.
Good fight, man. That was a good fight, man. Props to both of them. They delivered. I like it. And yeah, Shavkat is this is not an interim title, right? This is just the #1 contender.
Yeah.
And how long is Bilal out for?
Few months, I think. I think these guys fight in July. Bilal and Shavkat probably 6 months from now. July.
That's far.
June, July. Well, they got to do Ramadan in like March or something, right? So that delays everything. When is Ramadan? Ramadan 2025, February 28th to March 29th. Like, that takes a big chunk out of Bilal's schedule and probably Shavkat's schedule, I'm guessing. Is he
Not sure.
Muslim as well? I'm not even sure. I know Bilal Muhammad, though, for sure would take time off for that, and he's injured, so he's not going to be back for a while. I think Bilal Muhammad probably defends his title in June or July against Shavkat. If Shavkat won. Right? We got to go to the decision and see. All right, scorecard time. Let's see what Bruce Buffer says. Who won this fight? Oh, it's unanimous. That's good.
48-47.
48-47. That's 3-2. Shavkat wins 3-2.
Damn,
Closer
that was
than we
closer
thought.
than.
Yeah.
But yeah, Machado won the last round, and maybe he stole another round. You know, like I could see that.
Yeah.
Because
I think you
Machado
won the
definitely
fifth.
won the last round.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Might have been
that
another
choke
round in there,
attempt
maybe.
was very.
Yeah. Maybe the second. I'm not sure. But whatever. Either way, unanimous decision win for Shavkat. Winning 4-1, 3-2, 5-0. Either way, it's a victory. It's the right decision. Good fight.
Remember when GSP had like this super long streak of not even losing a round? That was impressive. I wonder if does he have the record for that? Who has the record for the most consecutive rounds being scored for you?
Might be Jordan. Might be Khabib.
Something happened, Dave.
Did something happen to your feed?
Yeah.
My feed kept working. But your feed dropped out. I don't know why. I could send you the alternate link. Mine's working. It's just Freddy's is.
I go back to VLC maybe because I'm using it.
Yeah, you're watching it on our feed here.
Yeah. VLC.
Oh, mine just froze out too. Yo, what the hell? Uh-oh. Shavkat was talking about Bilal Muhammad. Bilal is there watching the fight. I mean, that's next. What's happening?
I don't know, man.
Oh, Bilal was trying to come into the cage, but security stopped him. Fred, you have the do you have a feed going right now? Are you good?
No, send me the alternate.
Oh, okay, I'll send you the alternate. Hang on. Oh, there's Bilal in the cage. And my thing is freezing. My shit keeps freezing. I wanted to hear what Bilal's saying, but my video just froze out. What's going on here? It's annoying.
AJ's in the chat. He's bringing us his bad.
Yeah, it's AJ's bad energy, man. It's always AJ screwing stuff up, man. What's AJ even doing here? Well, that's okay. That was the real main event. We don't have to be on for the main event, Fred. Let's just skip it. You know? Let's like not watch it, and it's cool. It's cool. It's like almost 1 a.m. It's ridiculous.
I mean, I have other options I could send you. But...
Yeah, I know. Cool. Well, that was a big win for Shavkat Rakhmonov. He will fight Bilal Muhammad for the title next. And I mean, most people would be picking Shavkat. I think Shavkat's going to come in as a favorite in that fight, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
All right. Well, we're
no more injuries. Let's see who's the better man. That's what Shavkat told Bilal.
Yeah, no more injuries. Bilal was this is supposed to be the title fight tonight, right? They're supposed to headline this card for the belt. Cool. Well, I have no idea what's going on in the actual thing.
You need me to send you something, or?
I don't know. Oh, this is fucking crazy. Ridiculous. I don't know what's going on. All right, well, we're going to get to the main event at some point here. The main event for the UFC flyweight title, Asakura versus Pantoja. Let's see a Kai Asakura knockout, Fred. Let's see it. What's he here for? Is he here to... just be a challenger, or is he here to be the new champion? Let's see something from this guy.
the thing I saw from his highlights is he's fought I think most of his fight in Japan or overseas
Yeah.
with different rules. And all the highlights they showed, he always has like these kicks to the head on the ground, and I'm like, yeah, but can't do that here. So let's see how he transitions. The rules aren't exactly the same. He does seem for a 125, he seems very big. Like they were showing him when he weighed in, and he was like super dehydrated, like lost a lot of weight to make 125. So I kind of intrigued to see like maybe he's a big, strong guy that's gonna give Pantoja some issues. At the same time, losing a lot, cutting a lot of weight can affect your performance. And Pantoja has a good gas tank. He's able to go 5 rounds and not slow down much. So I got Pantoja. I don't think I don't know enough about Asakura, so that's another issue. But I got Pantoja.
I mean, he's the favorite. He's supposed to win. I just don't know, man. I'm not totally sold on Pantoja. I haven't been overly impressed with what I've seen from Pantoja. He hasn't been the most dominant champion. He's 34 years old. He's got a 28-5 record. Who has he beat? He beat Brandon Moreno by split decision, beat Brandon Royval by decision, and Steve Erceg by decision. Like, he just hasn't really done much. He hasn't been overly impressive.
That's the division, though. Those are like the division's a little lacking in names right now. But those are the guy like beating Brandon Moreno. Moreno was the champ for a while and all. Brandon Royval, I agree. He's not a great fighter. Steve Erceg either, but there's not a lot of contenders in that division.
But it's not that, it's not that he's beating guys that aren't big names. It's that he's barely beating them. Like, if he were smashing people, I think people would be more excited to see Pantoja fight. But, he's going to decision. The biggest name that he fought, Brandon Moreno, he barely beat Brandon Moreno. A split decision. It was very close. I just feel like Pantoja hasn't shown us enough. We haven't seen enough of him to go, wow, he's really impressive. That's amazing. Like, he's good and all, but it's like, well, he's not really finishing guys impressively as champion. I feel like Asakura would be a fun champion for the UFC. We'll see. Asakura was a champion in Rizin. He's 31 years old. This is his UFC debut, 21-4 as a pro. I'd like to see him win. I just want to see something fun. Because this guy's got a fun style. He knocks people out, does flying knees, spinning kicks. He's got style. He's very flashy. I like him. We've seen Pantoja. The Pantoja show isn't that exciting. I want to see what the other show's about. You know what I mean?
I mean, like I say, the division's a little bit lacking of star power. So if anybody can come out and with a bang, like let's say he wins with something flashy, yeah, he could become a star. If he just wins a boring decision, he'll just be the next boring champion of the division. But yeah, that division, I don't know, like who's been champion since Demetrius left? Like Cejudo beat him, but then retired. And who was champion after Cejudo? Was it Figueiredo right away, or was there somebody else? But anyways, the division since Demetrius is gone has not been the same. Oh, the feed is back, Dave.
Our feed is back. Yeah, I know. I saw that. Very exciting. We missed nothing.
Did you wake up our tech?
No, I think he's been up. He stays up.
Oh, he stays up. Damn.
Oh, yeah. It's exciting times, man. Very exciting times. It's UFC 310. We are here. We're on Rumble. We're on YouTube. We're on all the things. Shout out to everybody watching on Rumble tonight. Shout out
If
to
you're not
everybody on
subscribed,
YouTube.
subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe to us on Rumble. Follow us on Rumble. Subscribe to us on YouTube.
Doesn't cost nothing.
Subscribe. And if you want support over at join.ringsidereport.net or
Now, Dave,
membership.ringsidereport.net.
Dave, I'm kind of ashamed because as I'm telling people to subscribe, and I told that last week also, I see that I got 2 different YouTube accounts, one for my computer and I have one on my phone. And I see I'm not subscribed on the one on my computer, so I'm going to subscribe right now. Done.
And is that you positively focused?
No,
Oh, okay. That's somebody else.
I think my name is someone. Kelker.
Oh, nice. What an original name, Fred. You're really trying hard with that one. You want to take a look at the scorecard for Shavkat and Ian Garry?
Sure, why not?
Mike Bell scored it 48-47 Shavkat, giving Shavkat round 1, 2, and 4. So Garry went in 3 and 5. And that is also how Chris Lee saw it. And also how Ron McCarthy saw it. So all 3 judges seeing the fight exactly the same. 1, 2, 4 for Shavkat. 3 and 5 for Ian Machado Garry. You seeing this? This rarely happens. Over a 5-round fight where all 3 judges score all 5 rounds exactly the same.
Trying to remember round 3 because I think round 2 maybe I would have gave to Garry. I'm trying to remember. Maybe I'm mistaking both rounds, but yeah. If all 3 judges saw it that way, I guess that's the one.
They must be right. 5 for sure. 3, okay.
I mean, I'm gonna play the AJ role and say, like, you got to give it to Ian Garry, man. He gave a good fight, man.
There you go. So I got no problem with this scorecard. It's fine. Garry fought well. Shavkat wins in the end.
I wanted him to fight sooner than June, though. Like, if Bilal's fucking getting in the cage to say all that and Shavkat says, like, no fucking injury, well, both of you guys fucking get it done, man. Don't give me no, like, June fight, July fight. That's way too far.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
AJ's
Ramadan
in the chat.
start.
Should AJ come on the show? Why doesn't AJ come on the show? AJ, what are you doing? If you're in the chat, you should come on for the main event, no?
Well, I'm going to speculate that he's at his own place because it's late at night.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to be an issue with the internet.
Yeah, he's got nothing set up. Can I get him a taxi? AJ says, Dave, can you get me a taxi? To where?
Why?
Where are you trying to go? Where are you right now?
Well, on our personal chat, he was saying something about, like, he was, like, in a police drunken driving thing there where they test you.
Oh, okay. I guess he was driving. He was out. He was partying. I don't know what he was up to.
AJ needs a lawyer. Somebody help him.
He really does. He really does. Yeah, what the hell?
There's never been a Japanese champion in the UFC before? I guess not.
Merab Dvalishvili started fighting a fan.
Oh, for real?
Yes. After Aljamain lost, Merab was like fighting a fan.
Is there videos?
Wait, was that Merab? Yeah, there's a video. I'm trying to figure out who was who.
Merab. How do you spell Davish?
Oh, I think he's fighting like a Dagestan guy. Hold on a second. Oh my
Send it to me.
God. I'm going to show it. Can you see it when I show it?
Oh, wait. I got to go back to the screen. Go. I don't see nothing right now.
This is... Hold on. I'm about to show it. Here we go. So I think the guy here, this is Merab. That's Merab. And there's another guy fighting this guy in the crowd. Merab was like over here. He gets pulled away, but I think he was fighting somebody before that. And now this guy in the crowd was fighting somebody. Not sure who this guy is, but this guy was fighting Merab. And now he's, I guess, getting escorted out. Going to talk to cops. I don't know what happened there. But there's Merab getting into it. How about that? Crazy. It's just chaos, man. UFC fighters are just pure chaos these days.
So much fighting.
Yeah. So much fighting outside of the cage. It's wild. Merab, it's not the first time he fought a fan. He, like, jumped a thing in the summer. Went after some people.
He seems like a little bit of a hothead, but he's entertaining, man. I'm a Merab fan.
Yeah,
as long as he's fighting, that person he's fighting, I hope is another fighter. Like if he's just fighting random people in the crowd, that's not good. Merab.
It might be. If they just yell at him and talk shit, I think he will go after them, which is not great. Shouldn't do that.
Don't assault the public.
Yeah, don't assault fans. You know, there's going to be drunken fans that are going to say rude shit to you. You just got to keep walking. You know, I know it's got to be tough for a UFC fighter, especially when your friend just lost a fight and you're intense and it's, you know, fight atmosphere and you got opponents around you and you're angry and maybe they're saying horrible things to you, you know. But just because they said horrible things to you doesn't mean you can attack them. Because if you do, you're going to get yourself into some trouble, you know? It's just not good. Patrick C. Hamilton dropping the 777 super chat. He says, my low expectations were met. I better get rewarded for staying up for the main event. Patrick's not loving this UFC 310 card. I mean, it's had its moments.
You know what, man? I did take 0.5 of mushrooms, so that might affect the fact of my enjoyment, but I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I'm having a good time too, but it might be the mushrooms, so I don't know, friend.
It might be the mushroom.
It might be the mushrooms.
As you can see, I'm not falling asleep as I usually do, which is kind of weird. So
I know, me too. I'm wide awake, and I was falling asleep during the prelims. For some reason, I'm awake again. Is it just the coffee? I don't know. No, I don't know. Shout out to Patrick C. Hamilton. Thank you, Patrick, for staying up with us. I hope you're rewarded a bit by our show. I hope it makes the UFC pay-per-view a little bit easier to watch. Shout out to Patrick. Thank you for being the super chat leader tonight. Thank you to Doug Hepburn for checking in. Shout out Doug. Shout out Angelo Contagona. Shout out to Leor as well. Jason Pete out in Mexico. A lot of members checking in. Antoinette out in Toronto. What's up, Antoinette? Over at join.ringsidereport.net. Thank you for supporting the channel. As we start the main event for the last pay-per-view of the year, UFC 310, it's the Flyweight Championship. Oh, Asakura with a flying knee. Pantoja catches it, though. Goes for a takedown. Asakura defends, spins away.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
I don't know. Asakura doesn't look great as of yet.
Pantoja landed a nice left hand and got a momentary takedown, but Asakura got back to his feet, now pushing Pantoja up against the fence. Asakura seems dynamic, though, doesn't he? That flying knee, like he's going for it. I like the excitement. Asakura now pushing Pantoja up into the fence. Ooh, and tried to disengage, but Pantoja just kind of followed him and pushed him down to the mat, and now in the guard of Asakura. What the hell was that? What happened there?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure why Pantoja is just staying there also.
That was not quite a takedown. It's like Asakura kind of tripped over himself, and Pantoja just followed him.
Why isn't like Pantoja trying to posture or anything? Like, doesn't seem like Asakura has that much of a grip on him.
No.
He has an overhook, but yeah. All right.
Oh. And Asakura getting back to his feet. Pops back up.
Oh, nice little Superman punch.
Yeah, you don't see Superman punches very often anymore. Used to see them all the time.
Yeah, where are you at, GSP?
There you go. Oh,
GSP,
nice low
he
kick
likes
there.
GSP, he likes to jump in cold water recently. That's what I've been seeing from him on his videos.
I think he had surgery. I saw him with like a thing in a hospital.
Okay.
On his shoulder.
Because he posted a couple of weeks ago where he just like went into the cold water. I'm not sure where. He's like, this is my ice bath.
Pantoja landed a nice left and right hook combo. Ooh, jumping knee there from Asakura. Asakura's eating some shots, but he's moving well. He's throwing a lot. Pantoja's landing some heavy shots, so that was a good left hand. I like the style of Asakura.
I mean, he's tall. I'd like to see a little more striking from him. He likes to jump in and strike, it seems. He's not trying to establish a jab or anything. He likes to come in explosive. Oh.
Ooh, nice punch there from Pantoja.
Oh, nice high kick.
Yeah. Asakura's got power. He's got explosions. But Pantoja seems just a little bit more sound technically. Oof. Nice combo from Pantoja. And they sprawl out, and Pantoja lands a knee to the face. Pantoja's slick. Oof, man. Left hand and a body kick there from Pantoja. Pantoja seems to be landing big, heavy punches, but, you know, Asakura's eating them and moving forward. He's got a chin on him. Pantoja. Whoa, that was a weird move there from Asakura. Do you see that? He jumped with like a jumping knee and then didn't land the knee but threw a punch in the air.
I don't think there's much power behind that, though.
But I like the creativity. You know, I like the way he fights. I like the style. He did land a jumping knee at one point during the fight, but he got caught and he got taken down.
I'm going to give round one to Pantoja still.
Yeah, I think so. Pantoja landed some really clean shots. Asakura landed a few knees, but I think Pantoja landed more punches. Fun fight so far. Let's see a finish. We don't need to see 2 5-round fights go the distance, right? Come on. Pantoja probably winning the first round 10-9. Asakura promised a knockout at the press conference, Fred. He said, I'll knock him out, I promise you. I don't like a guy to show up in the UFC and promise something and then not deliver.
And here we go.
It's your first fight in the UFC and you promise me something. You better deliver.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody promise to win by decision, though.
I promise you guys, I will grind out a close decision. And I will win that decision, hopefully, if the judges see it in my favor. Ooh, nice little trip takedown from Pantoja. Jumping on the back of Asakura. Asakura, though, wise to it. Not allowing Pantoja to fully control the back.
Weird look on his face.
It's like, well, I'm just chilling here. Pantoja's just standing here with his leg on me and nothing's happening, so I'm just going to relax. That was a funny look from Asakura. I like it, man. He's a showman. He's entertaining. He was criticizing Pantoja for not being entertaining enough as a champion, not being dynamic enough. And I can see why, because his whole style is like entertainment and being flashy. It's not working for him, though. He's got his back taken. He's probably going to get rear naked choked here in a minute. Pantoja on his back. Very dangerous jiu-jitsu. Asakura in big trouble right now as they are on the mat with Pantoja full body triangle on him. It's a tight body triangle, too, that he's got going. Ooh, looking for the squeeze. This could be it. Oh, man. Pressing the spine. Asakura is in big trouble.
Yeah,
this is going to be a wrap here. He's going
to go out. He's going to go out, I think. He's not going to tap. Oh, he's not tapping. He's out.
Oh, he's unconscious. He's unconscious right now. He went out, choked him out with a rear naked choke. Alexandre Pantoja, and still UFC flyweight champion. Wow.
Good job.
Tapped him. Second round. Didn't tap him. Choked him out. Technical submission. Well, Asakura was a fun little opponent, I guess. That was fun.
So are you excited for a second fight, or?
No, I'm good. He promised a knockout and he got choked unconscious in a round and a half. Didn't take very long. I'm glad that it ended quickly. I mean, he's kind of a fun fighter. You know? It depends who he fights, honestly, Fred. Like, the problem is the flyweight division is so not exciting that unless he's fighting Brandon Moreno next, which, I think that would be a fun fight.
What is Amir Albazi, number 3 ranked? That guy should get the title shot.
Yeah.
But he lost to Moreno, yeah.
Oh, did
he? Has a win against yeah, his last fight he lost to Moreno in November. But he did beat Kai Kara France before that, so I don't know. Do you want to give... Oh, Moreno should be getting a rematch then, no? What's Moreno done lately? If he beat Amir. Before that, he lost to Royval and lost to Pantoja, so... maybe Moreno's the next guy in line.
Against Pantoja again? I mean, it was a close fight. Why not?
And I mean, he beat Amir, who's number 3, so...
Yeah.
Who else can you put there?
Well, they had Brandon Royval there in the crowd. Maybe Royval again.
Maybe.
What about Tagir? Tagir Ulanbekov.
Oh, he's too far.
Is he? Where is he? 11th?
Number 11.
Wow.
Like, he's not going to get the title shot right away. I doubt it.
With another fight or two, I think Tagir is going to be in the mix. Well, there we go. Pantoja gets a flyweight title defense. I think they're going to throw Brandon Royval at him next because Royval's in the crowd for a reason. They kept showing Royval, you know. But Pantoja has defeated Brandon Royval, right? Twice? Was that Royval they showed? That was Royval they showed in the crowd, right?
I'm not sure. I didn't see, actually. I'm just following what you say.
I'm pretty sure it was Brandon Royval, which is weird because Pantoja's beat him twice, unless it was some other guy. No, that's Brandon Royval. So, why they keep showing him? Pantoja beat him twice, Fred. He beat him once by submission and the other time by decision. In 2023, he beat him by decision. In 2021, he tapped him. 2023, he beat him by decision. In 2025, we're going to see him fight again for the belt? Really? I mean,
I would go with Moreno.
Royval just beat Tatsuro Taira, who was undefeated. He did beat Brandon Moreno before that, too. Moreno, he beat Amir Albazi, but he did just lose before that to Brandon Royval.
Yeah, but wasn't like
Royval
his
has
fight
wins
was
over Brandon Moreno and the undefeated at the time Tatsuro Taira back-to-back.
So maybe he's in line.
But he's lost to Pantoja twice. And I feel like Moreno had a closer fight with Pantoja. But Moreno lost to Royval, so you know what I mean?
And I feel Moreno, he's a little bit more of a name, no? Isn't he a little bit more of a star than Royval? Like, he's got the Mexican aspect behind him and everybody that follow him.
But he lost.
I don't know.
But he lost.
Yeah. But he won his last fight.
Yeah. That's why you should give the title shot to Tagir Ulanbekov. Or who are some of these other guys that are ranked at flyweight? Who was, hold on, they have a guy.
I mean, Steve Erceg got a title shot and he wasn't ranked high, so who knows who's going to get the next title. Like, it could be anybody.
Who is Asu Almabayev? Who is that? From Kazakhstan. 30 years old, 21-2, hasn't lost a fight since 2017. Undefeated in the UFC. How about him? I think he's going to be somebody to watch. Asu Almabayev. The UFC has him ranked 7th, I think, right now. This guy's on a ridiculous win streak, dude. He's won a ton of fights in a row. And he's beat some good guys, too. Asu. Okay? It's all about the Asu.
Why not, man? This division needs a little new blood, maybe. I'll be honest, I still miss Demetrius Johnson. Like, I wish there was a chance he would come back. I know he's retired and he's not coming back. He's doing jiu-jitsu now. Mm-hmm. But since Demetrius Johnson has not been there no more, which Demetrius Johnson for Ben Askren was a terrible trade, man.
Yeah.
Like, we don't see trades in MMA, but that's like an all-time awful trade in sports.
They had a bit of a run there, with Henry Cejudo and TJ Dillashaw. Like, they tried to keep it going after Demetrius, but they couldn't keep the momentum. Flyweight has just not really worked.
I mean, it needs a star, man. It needs somebody flashier. But that was a nice win, man, for Pantoja, man. Let's see if he could. But again, like the guy that Asakura didn't seem to have much like grappling, and Pantoja just was smart and went there, and it was easy from there.
Yeah. I just wonder, how you make Pantoja into a star that people want to pay for, without some name opponents, without some quality names you can throw at him. I mean, impressive performances like this help, on a pay-per-view that a lot of people are buying for the undercard. Like, people aren't buying this pay-per-view for Pantoja's fight. They're buying it for Shavkat or whatever. You know what I mean? But I think the hope is that you buy the pay-per-view for Shavkat or for Garry or for Kron Gracie or whoever, and then you see Pantoja, and then you become a Pantoja fan so that the next time Pantoja fights, you buy the pay-per-view for Pantoja. I'm just not sure that's happening. Because, he's good and all, but you still have to give him, a fun opponent for you to care. Does Khabib have a cousin or a nephew or something at 125, Get a guy named Nurmagomedov in there. It might help.
Somebody that doesn't like tiramisu.
Yeah, something. Or, somebody that beat Pantoja in the past.
Like that Asu guy. You said he's from Kazakhstan. If you tell me he trains with Shavkat, I'm sold, man.
That's it.
Oh, Asu.
He's Shavkat's cousin, okay? They're in the same family. It's the Kazakhstan wave. Asu and Shavkat. If Shavkat becomes champion, people are going to start calling for Asu next. Everybody wants a little Asu. Right? Come on. All right, well, we did it. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, everybody, for supporting. Doug Hepburn dropping the super chat, new super chat leader of the night. Thank you, Doug. He says, thanks, boys. You two, Johnny and AJ, Doug, Nick, and Brennan from Kingston. Thank you, Doug, Nick, and Brennan out in Kingston, Ontario, supporting the show. UFC 311 will be our next pay-per-view. And that'll be January 18th. Islam Makhachev versus Arman Sarukian, Merab Dvalishvili versus Umar Nurmagomedov, Benil Dariush against Renato Moicano, Jamal Hill against Yuri Prohaska, and Kevin Holland against Rainier de Reeder. Cool. That'll be a good pay-per-view. I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be nasty. So that is coming up on January 18th. And that's when we'll do our next pay-per-view watch-along. Freddie, AJ, and I will be back Thursday night at 8 p.m. for Ringside Report MMA. We'll start recapping the year. Start talking about our predictions, what we scored on, what we didn't. Hey, Fred, guess what? You predicted that Alexandre Pantoja would finish as the flyweight champion of the UFC. And you were the only one on the show to predict that. I predicted Tagir Ulanbekov, and AJ predicted Amir Albazi. We are both wrong, and you were correct. Alexandre Pantoja is the UFC flyweight champion, and he will finish the year as the UFC flyweight champion. But featherweight champion, okay, I was the only one who said Topuria would finish as champion. You and AJ both said Volkanovski. So we will tell you who scored what, who won where, who was right, who was wrong, about all the beginning of the year predictions. At the beginning of the year, we do predictions who's going to be champion at the end of the year. And we were right about some things, wrong about some others. Not bad, though. I think for the most part, for every division, one of us got it right. Ooh, except middleweight. Nobody picked Dricus. Nobody picked Dricus. All right, we'll be back Thursday night, 8 p.m. Freddie, you're the best. Thank you to everybody watching us all around the world on Rumble, YouTube, and all the things. Kick. Thank you to all the supporters over at join.ringsidereport.net and membership.ringsidereport.net. Thank you, Doug, Super Chat Leader of the Night. Thank you to Patrick as well out in Regina, Saskatchewan. Appreciate you guys. Hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you, Angelo, Antoinette, Leor, Jason, and all the members supporting the Ringside Report Network. This has been the UFC 310 Watch Along.
Thanks for sticking with us to the end. We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word. Please share this episode on whichever social media platform you use. Add a comment below and consider reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. We are an audience-supported network. so consider becoming a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. Check out our website at ringsidereport.net. Hope to see you again next time, and have a good night.